You're listening to PlayStation Unchained.
Hello, everybody. It's Garri again with my good friends here. We're going to be doing... we're doing it right now. This is the Comic Book Special Podcast Part 2. Neil, what is it called again? You gave it a special name.
We called it Podcast Without Fear.
Podcast Without Fear Part 2. We're probably going to scare some people on this podcast, though. There's going to be probably a lot of rage happening this time. More so than the last time. But, yeah, I'll be hosting today. Of course, with me, you just heard my sidekick. I'm going to call you Sidekick, Neil.
Sidekick.
Take that, because you have a cool comic book name. Neil Bolt. Yours is a natural comic book name.
It's almost a Bucky Barnes.
Yeah. How are you, Neil?
I'm good, thank you, yeah. I'm all ready to talk about more comic stuff.
Are you excited?
Oh, very excited.
I'm very excited. We're coming out of the hot heels of San Diego Comic-Con, where a lot of stuff happened.
Oh, that had a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff happened. A lot of DC stuff, not so much Marvel, because they themselves didn't attend that much. Well, some stuff attended from Marvel, but they themselves didn't attend.
No.
We got Star Wars, and mostly the 20th Century Fox Marvel stuff was there.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll go in depth into all of that. With me also is Mr. Chili Willy. I'm going to call you Chili Willy. That's your comic book name, Ben.
He's going to be a little cartoon penguin.
How are you, Ben?
I'm very surprised about that nickname. So yeah, I'm a penguin now. Okay?
You know you like it.
It is a good name. I'll give you that. I'm good, thank you, and you?
I am pretty good. You just got married, Ben. How was that?
Oh, it was interesting. It exploded more than I think it would, because I thought it was just, a little friendly wedding on Final Fantasy 14. In case anyone knows, that's one of the games I play. It somehow went from... I put it on our Twitch, of course. Someone else put it on their Twitch. And then some people put it on Reddit. And then some people put it on their Facebook.
Awesome.
It just went insane.
Yeah, and by explosion, he doesn't mean the sexual type.
No, just the coverage.
Yes. Yeah, that was fun. I attended that.
Yeah.
I was mostly in the background. You couldn't see me much because all the bigger characters got in my way.
Yeah, which sucked. Well, to be fair, they got in the way of me as well. I was the groom.
Well, yeah, you're really tiny. you're a Lawfell and you're like 2 feet tall. Nobody could see you. But yeah, it was a fun wedding. You definitely spent a lot of money on it.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Definitely saw you. You came in on like a crane thing.
Yeah.
Forwarding you two down. I was like, man, I wish my wedding was like that.
Actually, that's one of the options. Yeah, it's one of the options you get. It's pretty nice. Once you pay that... What's that, sorry?
No, I was saying, Neil and I were talking about, because we're still on the Skype chat after Unchained. Yeah. And Neil's like, man, I should have my wedding like that. You need to go get remarried right now and have that kind of...
That's it. That's the renewal.
Well, you had the choice of either walking in or that. Who wants to walk?
Yeah.
You could do that in real life.
It's like, I left on the chocobo, didn't I? You had the choice of either leaving on the chocobo or just walking out. Well, which one I'm going to go for? I can walk in real life.
At that point, I did honestly think you were going to get some sort of rocket to the moon. It was just building to that.
Now, I didn't know there was an after party.
Yeah, at the free company. Someone invited us over to it.
Yeah, nobody told me that. I saw there was a lot of dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
What you didn't see, because you were in your little private quarters, was I was a loner, and I was just sitting on my own while everybody else was chit-chatting. I felt bad, so I summoned a little, with Ultros, and he kept me company, because, he's a pervert in that game.
Yeah, so... Well, my fat chocobo came up to the altar with me.
I saw it. He just sitting there munching away on random stuff. It was great. But
yeah, it was fun.
Ben's wedding was great. Hopefully we'll be able to get the whole footage out there.
Yeah, well, it's all on Twitch, so...
So it is archived, so hopefully we can get it up for everybody to see. It was pretty extravagant. A lot of people showed up.
Yeah, a lot of people. And there were some people that messaged me next day saying apologising they couldn't come. So there would have been more.
Yeah, so you had a lot of friends, Ben.
Yeah.
More than you thought.
A lot more.
Well, you have over 500 friends on PSN, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, so let's jump right in. The first part of this cast, we're going to spoil the crap out of Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
So if you don't want it spoiled for you, skip ahead. I don't know how much to skip ahead right now, but we'll probably tell you in the text.
Yeah.
So make sure you read that when you get to this point of listening to the cast. So if you don't want spoilers for Batman Arkham Knight, skip ahead, and we'll tell you how far to skip ahead.
Yeah, I know the minute now, so we know where to go from here.
Okay, so you mark the time.
I've marked the time, so when we stop talking, I'm going to remark the time and tell you how much.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks since Arkham Knight came out. People on the PC can experience it. Well, they can. For those who bought it, they don't want to though because it's terrible. Sorry for you guys, but just first impressions right away. Neil, what did you think of Batman Arkham Knight?
I went into it thinking, am I really going to like it as much? Now, because City did pretty much the same thing. Origins sort of burnt me out a bit. I know it wasn't Rocksteady doing it, but it was. I was thinking, can they really do the same thing again? But the first couple of hours of that game were just ridiculously good. It was such a strong start. I mean, the stuff we saw at E3, the whole beginning in the cafe with the Scarecrow gas gun, a really good moment because you're not Batman, you're just a cop on the beat who ends up being caught up in this whole tear gas moment. And yeah, it's just a really cool start. And that's the thing I say about each of Rocksteady's games in the Batman series. They've done really good openings, I think.
Yeah.
I'd say this is probably the strongest.
Yeah, the opening is great because, like, even when you get to the police station as Batman in the game, you'll see the cop that you play as in the beginning of the game, right? And he's in the jail cells, and he's, like, having a psychotic break.
But he's only in the jail cell if you shoot in the first scene.
Yes, that's what's so great about it.
It's just an amazing little touch.
Yeah, like if you don't shoot nobody, because like he starts hallucinating, he starts seeing demons, and you can just start pressing R1 and just unloading on everybody.
That's it.
And he'll end up in the prison cell completely like batshit crazy. But yeah, if you don't shoot anybody, he's not, and it's a fantastic touch. And there's a whole bunch of these little touches which we will definitely get into.
Oh yes.
But Ben, what were your first impressions of Batman? Because you played a little bit of it, you haven't finished it, so I'm sorry we're going to spoil it.
Don't worry, man. I wouldn't have joined if I cared too much. I liked it. I liked the start. It was pretty good. Very dramatic start, which was nice. It wanted you to play a bit. So yeah, I liked it. I didn't notice that cop thing myself.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I only noticed on my second playthrough, where I found out that I don't have to. I just decided not to shoot and see what happens, and it was great that it was a completely different thing that happened. But it starts off with an awesome song playing, and then you see the Joker's body, and you have to hold X and burn his body alive because he died in Arkham City. That was a good touch.
Yeah, and the choice of song is brilliant for shadowing as well. When you think what comes later, it's a great little moment.
Yeah, and he's laying there, he's dead, but he's got this huge smile on his face, and just watching his body char up and start burning, it was very well done opening there. Yeah. And obviously with Commissioner Gordon narrating the whole opening there was pretty fantastic. But let's get into the big first reveal. It happens pretty early in the game, about 2 hours into it, I would say.
Yeah.
And that is the Joker, obviously. I think almost everybody knew the Joker was going to be in this game in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through a flashback or through hallucination because of Scarecrow. and that was pretty much half right.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to see the Joker, and his first appearance was great because you're taking the canisters out, and you're trying to stop the fear toxin bomb or whatever that was that Scarecrow was going to unleash onto the city.
Yeah.
And you grab like 4 of them or 5 of them, and everything is just fine. And then you grab the last one. He turns around, and Joker's just like shooting you in the face. It was a great opening sequence, or not opening. It was a great introduction for him.
And it was a very good tease that they made you think that they were going to suddenly kill off Batman very early in that scene.
Yeah, like super early, and then you play as somebody else.
Yeah, it was just because they were so slow paced to him grabbing each canister and just putting it in place, and he's just saying basically a farewells to Alfred, and you think they're not going to kill him, are they? Like that, and then you're still sort of anticipating him not getting out, and then as you say, all of a sudden he turns around and Joker's there with the gun, and it's just whoa, just a moment you just don't expect at all.
Yeah, it was great. Because then, he starts waking up and he's like, Brucey. Like, he's like, oh man, he knows who Batman is? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And obviously then you start to realize, what's really going on. And
yeah.
He's pretty much hallucinating the Joker because he was infected with the Joker's blood in Arkham City.
Mm.
And
but it's also, it's mostly, I think, down to psychologically, he knows the Joker so well that it's his version of the Joker. Mm-hmm. And it is almost exactly the same. And so the combination of the fear toxin and the Joker blood has sort of made this constant companion out of the Joker, and it's probably the most humorous part of the game. At any point is usually anything he has to say, as usual. Yeah,
and quite honestly, it's probably some of the best writing I've seen since Borderlands. Quite honestly, Borderlands had hilarious writing. But I think what they did with the Joker here was just fantastic because the things he says, would just piss Batman off to no extreme. But it's great that he says it because it's so funny how he interprets it in his point of view.
Yeah, and all the while, it's Bruce saying it to himself.
Yeah, exactly. The second big surprise that was Mark Hamill replacing Joker.
Of course, he'd quit and said that was it. I'm never doing it again.
And after Arkham City, he said the only way he'll replace the voice is if they do an animated feature or anything of the Killing Joke.
Which,
yes, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, big surprise there, simply because they were able to keep it such a huge secret.
Yeah.
Everybody, it never leaked. There's never any hint of it. Usually, when you get, an actor doing a voice, their publicist or their agent will leak it onto their profile or something like that, and then everyone will know. That didn't happen here, so kudos to them.
Yeah, that's Rocksteady sort of understanding the characters they have so well again, and really getting what it is to sort of keep a secret like that. I think that's it. The difference was here is they knew they had to keep it secret to make it worthwhile.
Because once people found out that Mark Hamill was doing any voice in that game, it was probably automatically people were going to know it was
they did swerve it by having Troy Baker on board. He voiced Joker in Origins.
Very well, I might add.
Yeah.
So they easily could have just had Troy Baker do the voice.
Yeah, and I think that was it. That swerved it for people. They would think, well, if he's on board, he's probably doing that. Of course, he was on board to do Two-Face, which he'd done in the earlier games. So, But yeah, it was a...
But yeah, and
again, masterful in the way they did that.
Yeah, throughout the game, because he appears at random moments. Obviously, some of them are scripted moments, but a lot of them are random. He'll just be gliding through the air, and all of a sudden you'll see him standing on some random rooftop, and you'll land next to it, and he'll just throw out some dialogue that's hilarious. In my talks about how crappy the city is and how they're the new dynamic duo and they have to save it by killing everybody, not the way Batman's been doing it.
Yeah, his constant berating of any Robin as well. It's just it's like an in-joke almost to say.
Yeah, perfectly done. It's like he has a split personality where he's talking one way, the good way, and then the other personality is telling him to do. It's like the evil angel on his shoulder or the little devil.
Yeah.
And it's just done perfectly. Some of the best moments in the game, in my opinion, was when he appeared. And also the flashback moments that he forces Batman to kind of see. We saw the scene with the Killing Joke, obviously. We know Barbara Gordon is handicapped in the game. She's paralyzed, and they actually went in and somewhat recreated that scene in the game.
Yeah.
Which was, again, brilliant, because he's wearing his Hawaiian t-shirt, and he didn't have the hat, which kind of made me sad. Because the hat was great. But, yeah, she opens the door, she runs, he shoots her, down she goes, and she's just kind of twitching there. Very interesting scene, and the reason I say interesting is because it's kind of become a very controversial moment in comic books now. I don't know if you guys know about it. I know a lot of people are very kind of angry, and some people want the publication of the comic to just kind of stop. They want it to be pulled because, the whole female rights thing, and, he's shooting a defenseless little girl.
Yeah.
And then you had the controversy with, the Endgame variant covers where one of the artists went in and he kind of created the Joker with Batgirl. And he's just kind of like holding her arm behind. She's in tears. He's got a gun to her head. And the artist himself asked for the cover art to not be used because of all the controversy that came out of that. Mm-hmm. Again, I give him kudos for doing it. Again, I don't think it's something they need to pull in any way because it's the only real story of the Joker's history we know that exists. But yeah, there's that scene, which was a great scene. I don't know, did you ever get that far, Ben?
No, I didn't get that far, really.
Okay.
So who's our first spoiler for you?
I look forward to many more.
There will be many more. Now let's move a little bit forward and get to, I think, the biggest WTF moment in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Barbara Gordon gets kidnapped by the Arkham Knight, and you track her down finally, and she's kind of trapped in this room, and you go in there, and he starts pouring the fear toxin into the room that she's in, and she starts seeing Batman as this demonic thing. And this is one of the most brilliant scenes, simply because the Joker, again, is in it. And the things that he's doing in this scene. So she starts hallucinating, and she shoots the glass. It's bulletproof, so she can't hit Batman with it. And she takes the gun and kills herself. She shoots herself in the head. It was a big WTF moment, because I don't think I saw it happening. I don't think a lot of people ever saw it happening.
No.
It was brilliantly done, and I actually think this is the scene that gave them the M rating in the game. Personally, because obviously it's somebody committing suicide.
Yeah.
It was brilliantly done because, the Joker's there, he's talking to her, he's talking to you, and then right as she's about to pull the trigger, he jumps in front of the camera and mimics the gunshot to the head, and then with his other hand, he does like the brain splattering from the other side. It was brilliantly done.
It really was.
It was a very pivotal scene. Batman breaks down. He's on his knees. He's completely devastated. What did you think of this scene, Neil?
Yeah, it was right out of the blue, as you said, and it comes at just the right point in the story where Batman's already struggling with the whole Joker and Joker blood and fear toxin mix, sort of taking over his mind and making him do lally. And basically, the Joker side's wanting to come out all the time and take over Bruce. But he's fought so hard to this point, and then, of course, as you said, Barbara gets kidnapped, and he fights one more time to try and get to her, and it's just, you can feel the defeatist moment for him at that point, where it's just like, I've just done so much already tonight, and then this happens. And another person dies on his watch is how he sees it, which is a theme they play with a lot during the game. It's sort of just playing on Batman's guilt and playing on why he wants to do everything on his own, because he just doesn't want anyone else to get hurt because of him. And it's a key thing. I think had it remained that was the case, that scene, that fit, that people probably would have been a bit more pissy about it, because it makes, I don't know, it'd be a bad way to take her out like that. otherwise. I think I'm not sure which way I like it going, because I'll go to the next spoiler. Obviously, on this point is that she isn't dead. Well, we find out later, and it turns out because the room that it happens in happens to be the room that you get poison ivy out of earlier on in the game, where they've released fear toxin. So obviously, when you get there, it's probably still fear toxin pumping through. So Batman is the one hallucinating the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so at the end of that, I wasn't sure which way I would have preferred they'd gone with that. It was nice that it didn't kill her off that way in a way, but at the same time, sort of diminished that shock value a little. But at the time, it's just like, wow, great scene. It sort of punctuated the moment perfectly.
Yeah.
As you said, and for the Joker interaction alone, as you say, it's just, masterfully done again.
Yeah, it was brilliantly done. I personally feel they should have kept her dead, simply because it was such a pivotal moment in the story, and then it's like they just take those emotions away from me, and for a lot of people, in my opinion. But yeah, it was a fantastically well done scene, and of course, when you have an enemy like the Scarecrow involved, you really don't know what to believe. And throughout the game, like, you just don't know if it's real, if it's not. Is he hallucinating it? None of it. Like, there's so many great scenes where, you just beat up a whole bunch of guys, and then, like, it was in the Stag Industries airship.
Yeah,
you down another guys, and then out of nowhere, they all start coming back up, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And they start transforming into the Joker.
That was a proper Goosebumps moment where they all just sort of rose off the floor like that. It was just like, oh, that's just creepy.
Yeah, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? And throughout the game, there's all these moments. Like, you'll be fighting guys randomly in the street, and out of nowhere, one of them is going to look like the Joker. I don't know if you ever encountered that, Neil, but...
Yeah, a couple of times I saw that. It's just weird moments, like the billboards changing.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff changed. Like, you'll be running around as the more you play into the game, and the more his psyche starts breaking down with the Joker kind of taking on. There are some scenes in the game where the Joker does take over.
Yeah,
and he almost kills a whole bunch of people. And
notably again on that airship where he comes up to the Scarecrow.
Yeah, and that's when Scarecrow finally realized something is wrong with Batman. He almost killed these people. Does he not care anymore? He realizes that something is completely different.
Yeah, because that is the first time he ends up speaking out loud as the Joker as well. And it's like, it sort of gives the gravity to it. That Batman could lose himself now. It's not just in his head; it's coming out and making you into something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of great stuff. The billboards change. Like, the more you play, you'll start seeing, like, the billboards change with the Joker killing people in there instead. A lot of great... Even some of the statues and gargoyles change. I don't know if you noticed that.
Not until someone mentioned it. No, again, it's one of those that... Yeah, like, just so much stuff. It's crazy.
There's these two statues, these huge statues on one of the bridges.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll see them, as the lady ones. And then, like, you look again, and it's like this creepy Joker on there instead. Like, his head is, like, taking over her. Even the big Statue of Liberty-looking chick that's, like, in the middle of the city on the island. You know which one I'm talking about? Even she changes into the Joker at one point as well. Her face is just a lot of great stuff they did. A lot of little touches that are just brilliant to show how he's just mentally losing it.
Yeah. And just, even outside there, there's just some batshit nuts, insane stuff that's just makes you think, Christ. It's like, humor-wise as well, there are moments, not just the Joker himself, but when they reveal that Batman's been infected with the blood, and that's why he's seeing the Joker, and the fact that there are several other people who've got the same problem.
Yeah,
like that. One of which being Johnny Charisma.
Yeah, it was the big thing everybody was like onto, because like the name appeared in every single trailer, and you're like, what does it mean?
It turned out it's like a set of not boss battles, because as we know, Rocksteady don't do them so well.
No,
but basically they all get to escape later in the game, and these people infected with Joker blood, who are all slightly Joker-esque. And the Johnny Charisma bit where he's just rigged stage to blow up.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. What a phenomenal moment in the game.
again, this came out of nowhere, and it was funny as hell because it's just this Elvis impersonator type who's quite jokerified, singing to Batman on stage. Well, is it Robin or Nightwing who has to sneak around? And
Robin has to sneak around.
Yeah, it's Robin who has to sneak around and sort of disarm the bombs when he's not looking. It's like, it's just mad. And then the Joker in your head's there as well, trying to get involved, and it's just
and like if you, I listened to the whole song, which caused me to fail the mission, obviously. But he starts singing the song, and the song is so great because it's just about how the Joker has ruined Batman's life. It's so fantastic. Like, he said, I shot Barbara Gordon, and then she fell. Like, he's just talking and singing about all the terrible things he's done. And it's such a great song. You can obviously hear it again after you beat the game, and he actually sings it again in the credits. Yeah.
And it's just mad. It's an out there moment, but in a funny way.
Yeah, it's brilliant. If it's on YouTube, I gotta watch it because.
I like you pretty much listened to the whole thing before getting blown. I didn't realise I had to do anything. I just thought, well, am I just watching?
Yeah. Great moment, great stuff. Let's get into the second big thing. At least I considered it a big thing. A lot of people probably didn't. Obviously, the Scarecrow succeeds in unleashing his big bomb, covers the Gotham City. Well, not all of Gotham City, just the areas you can explore. Yeah. In this big, like, poo gas. It kind of reminded me of the smoke and the CG they used in Green Lantern.
Gas.
The movie.
It would give you the fear, that's for sure.
Definitely. And like it was great because the whole city has like this orange hue on it now, and you can't see under you have to pretty much jump from building to building's rooftops to stay out of the gas. But it looks pretty cool. The effect is great. It just looks a little iffy sometimes.
Yeah, when you're higher up, it's like it doesn't seem to move. And you're like,
yeah.
It sounds more like piss gas than poo gas.
But if you see screenshots of it online, it does look like just diarrhea. It looks pretty bad. But
on the other hand, it's another moment where you're thinking, wow, they actually did that. Because that's the sort of thing that, you get that mentioned a lot, but probably end up not happening. And the fact that he actually gets to detonate.
Yeah, he succeeds.
But
for the first time, a villain succeeds at what he wants to do.
Yeah. But yeah, if anything, I would say it's probably the weakest section of the entire game.
Yes, I agree with you.
Anything from that and the boss battles that come within it are piss, basically. They're just...
Yes. The boss battles were terrible. Well, we just say every major encounter in the game was terrible.
Yeah. Great moments leading up to and after every single one of them, but yeah, it ruined the whole Arkham Knight reveal a bit as well. I mean, at that point, you know who it is, but it's just the stuff leading up to it, just after the Scarecrow gas bomb. It's just it tempers your enjoyment for a bit, and it's like, and sadly, the reveal comes just after that. And you're like, well.
Now, what you said, because this is one of the moments where one of the pivotal points happened, and that's the death of Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
She dies saving the world, pretty much, from Scarecrow, or at least Gotham City. Fear toxin, which kind of got a little fantasy. I understand that. Batman's kind of more rooted in reality, outside of some of his villains, Poison Ivy being one of them. But I think it actually kind of worked pretty well for him in the game.
Yeah.
She's kind of been I wouldn't say pivotal role in all the Arkham games, but she's played a pretty big role, at least in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So yeah, she hates Scarecrow. She's immune to his fear toxin. She has a natural immunity to it, and Batman kind of threatens her to help him, or he's going to destroy every plant in Gotham. I don't know how people believe Batman is going to do any of these things. Like, where he's going to go around and rip out every root in the street. Come on,
Hey, in the comic books, he goes after rock and roll. Who knows what he's going to go after next?
He's going to have 2 bottles of weed killer.
There you go.
It's on his Bat utility belt. It's just got weed killer.
Bat weed killer.
But yeah, so you know, she tries to save the city. She's kind of dying slowly because of the fear toxin, and it's killing all the plants. Batman has to help her. You go underground. You do a whole bunch of stuff to help her. But yeah, she eventually dies because she absorbs too much of it to clear the air and completely remove the fear toxin. Throughout the game, it's always raining. There's not a moment in the game where it's not raining. Except when the fear toxin gas gets released and Poison Ivy dies, she dies and explodes into like a whole bunch of pollen.
Yeah, that's quite cool. When it looked afterwards, it was just...
Yeah, it looked really cool, I will admit. But yeah, she dies. I kind of felt sad because I really like the character. I like a lot of Batman characters, so it's always really sad when somebody dies. Yeah. But yeah, you know, Poison Ivy, a villain, does the one, I guess, really good deed, and she ends up saving everything. What did you think of her death, Neil?
Yeah, again, it seemed to get lost, unfortunately, in all that.
It does get lost.
Area.
It doesn't have a big emotional push like the Barbara Gordon suicide did.
No, and I think maybe that's why. It's just because you've already had that. And, you know, Poison Ivy's had her moments in the game at that point, but nothing big, you know. Mm-hmm. Right. I think that's the only problem with the more open world nature of, you know, City onwards, is that you can't sort of rein those little story bits in a bit to make them tighter. And I think so it sort of suffers as a result for this one. But yeah, it was a noble death in the sense that she died, you know, because she wanted to protect her plants more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And still, you know, that's how she went out on her terms. It's a nice little. When the game played so much with if people die or don't die, it was like that was kind of cool to actually see someone actually, you know, full on be out if they count dead.
Yes, and like I personally feel they could have done like a Sniper Wolf death scene with her, all emotional and stuff, but you know, it's not Kojima doing the game.
So what, little howling plants?
Can you imagine if Hideo Kojima did the story for Batman Arkham Knight? Oh my god, I don't even.
Like I said, I find Rocksteady probably the closest developer out there to doing something similar to a Metal Gear.
Nanomachines. The Joker's hallucinations are just nanomachines.
So I mean, most of the stuff they do is very, very Metal Gear, and that's why I enjoy it when I'm playing, because it's just. It reminds me so much of that setup, the way they do each bit. It's just missing, you know, the boss battles being any good.
Let's get into a little bit more of his hallucinations. We see a couple, or at least 3 hallucinations of the Joker torturing and eventually killing Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Those scenes were very well done again. He kind of shows you, in his point of view, what he had done to Jason Todd. You know, he's strapped into a chair, he's hanging on a hook, and he's pretty much torturing him, and he eventually starts confessing. He's pretty much mind torturing him into telling him how much he hates Batman. Yeah. And the final one of these scenes, which I think was the best one, was, you know, all these TVs are up and running, and you kind of get 3 different perspectives, which is great. You get Batman's view, which is over the shoulder. You get the camera view that's facing Jason Todd. And then you get, on the TVs, you get the Joker's view of Jason Todd looking at the Joker. Very well done. Very well done. And it comes to the point, like, he brands him, he puts, like, the Joker, the J letter on his cheek. What are those called? Like, that they use on cows and stuff.
Cowpokes. Is it cowpokes?
Yes. I think that's what he uses. He uses something like that. You know, he heats it up, he brands him with Joker right on his cheek. And at the very end, he asks Jason Todd, who is Batman? And right as he's about to tell him, he puts out a gun and shoots him in the face. Which was a great moment. And, you know, he says, I don't care who he is. He says something like that. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, he's just basically saying, hey, I proved it. I poisoned this spirit. There you go.
Yes. What did you think of all those scenes? Were they very impactful for you? Because I thought they were great and very well done. Obviously, they're not the comic book version where he just beats the crap out of him with a crowbar and blows him up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not quite as visceral as that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. The only sort of niggling thing about it for me was the fact that they've not really referenced Jason Todd up to this point.
100% agree.
Yeah, and that kind of ruined things in regard to later.
Yes.
Because it just didn't. Yeah, it's like, why bring him up? It's like, when it was one time, I was like, okay, it makes sense because he's just sort of showing all these people who's hurt. You know, he's showing Barbara Gordon and what happened with her, and then here with this. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, when it started repeating, it's just like, okay, like that. And yeah, I remember telling you at the time of going, I've clocked it, Garri, I've clocked it. So.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure after those scenes, I think a lot of us kind of got the grip of what's going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, this all leads into the Arkham Knight, and obviously, from what people guessed in the very beginning of the character's reveal, they were all 100% correct, which is a shame, and that is that the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd. Very disappointing, in my opinion. Especially after those scenes, you kind of pretty much figured that it was Jason Todd. Because there's no reason for them to just randomly reference him, in the third
they over-egged the pudding.
3 games, even 4 games if you count Arkham Origins, to tell you that Jason Todd exists in this world. But there's never any reference at all.
No, that was it. And it was just like that. And the fact that, like I said, they did it several times.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they didn't do that with, like, Barbara or anyone else. And it's like, well, that says it, really. They're white, they're being a bit heavy-handed. And then, like I said, it comes, when he finally reveals himself, it comes after some of the worst sections in the entire game. And it's like, where, you basically battle him on the streets in the Batmobile, which, not as bad as everyone makes out, but some sections are poo, let's be honest. And, yeah, that one's one of them. And then there's the underground section of that, where you end up getting chased around by a big drill machine that he's in.
Yeah, and it's like a one-hit kill. If he catches up to you, somehow that thing is faster than a Batmobile.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
That was pretty much the bit I died on a lot. Because I kept getting caught on bits of scenery going really fast. And it was just like, and that was swearing and cursing the Batmobile to death at that point.
Yeah, my problem with it is the camera zooms out.
Yeah. And
it completely throws me off because out of nowhere the camera zooms out and the car is just drifting around everywhere because you're driving in dirt now.
Yeah.
And the zoom out just really killed it for me. I died a lot as well because of that. If the camera was in the same location, I'd be fine. But why did it have to zoom out for no reason?
Yeah. And so then, of course, after that bit, you escape it, lose the Batmobile dies its noble death. And it's like, which it wasn't quite as moving as the horse dying in Shadow of the Colossus sort of thing, but it's still, I've said it before. The Batmobile, it's almost animal-like in the way it's your companion, and that bit definitely felt like it. Just like the Batmobile sacrificing itself. Well, this one is anyway. The next one comes up later, and yeah, of course, you go out there and you find Commissioner Gordon, who's been kidnapped at this point. And, then you find out, yes, that the Arkham Knight is indeed Jason Todd. They make a little reference to the Red Hood character by having a little red helmet on underneath his helmet. He's got a helmet under a helmet. So, who doesn't need 2 helmets?
Yeah. Like I said,
double the bulletproofness.
Yeah, on his face especially.
Yeah,
but yeah, very disappointing in my opinion. Simply because everybody knew from the very beginning that that's who it was. I personally feel like they kind of tossed the idea around a lot of who the Arkham Knight was, eternally at least, and I think they probably went with the safest bet in Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Because there are just a lot of conflicting things with the character throughout the game. Like, in one scene, he's super whiny, and you're like, oh my god, that's Jason Todd. And another scene, he's super cool, collective, like a badass mercenary would be.
Yeah, but the overriding theme is that he fucks up a lot. It's like Scarecrow tends to be the one having the sort of control in situations when he plans stuff, but it's usually the Arkham Knight fucking up that ends up causing problems because he's so driven to take on Batman, and that again is another big clue because he's just such a big hard-on for killing Batman. It's like, you know, in a very personal manner. Oh, I know all your secrets. Okay, well there you go. There's another clue. You're just giving us clue after clue.
Yeah, and quite honestly, there's a lot of people who know his secret. You know, Hugo Strange knew his secret.
Yeah.
Bane knows his secret. You know, I'm pretty sure Deathstroke knows his secret.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like I don't know when. You know, like Scarecrow's voice was different for Arkham Knight to Arkham Asylum, and to me, it sounded a lot more like Hugo Strange.
Exactly, and that's what I thought. I was like, is Hugo Strange Scarecrow now? Did he come back somehow? I think it was the same voice actor. It was John Noble who did both those characters.
So when they mentioned that, you know, he'd mutilated himself somehow, and it's like, oh, okay, so yeah, it could be that he's not who he says he is. And of course, they one of the early theories for the Arkham Knight was that it was Hush.
Yes, which would have been a perfect fit.
Yeah, but that said, the bit where Hush is in the game is brilliantly done.
It's greatly done. I just wish there's more of it.
Yeah.
It was just one tiny side quest, and you're like, that's it?
But it's just... to explain what happens, if anyone doesn't know and wants to know, is that you have to go to Wayne Tower. Is it Wayne Tower? Yes.
Yes.
That's it. And to go and get some stuff from Lucius Fox. And you go up there, and for some reason Bruce starts, shoots the secretary, does he? I think it's something like that. It's he just basically does things that aren't Batman-esque, and you think, oh, it must be the Joker stuff getting into his head, and he's going,
yeah, because you're controlling this at this point.
Yeah, and then you suddenly skip that, and you come back up the elevator again, and you're like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And it's like, yeah, it turns out, of course, that the hints of Hush taking his identity were true, but Hush doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He just knows he's Bruce Wayne, and that's how it ends up seemingly going.
In this world.
Yeah, in this world.
Yeah,
which again is another thing they sort of played with.
Who Batman is.
Yeah, but that's it. Again, that's another point that once you know that Hush is out the picture, it leaves one true Arkham Knight. That's it, because he's the only other option. Yes,
at first I thought it would have been Bane, but Bane is obviously a little bigger, even when he's not on the Venom to be the Arkham Knight. Or Ra's al Ghul easily could have been Arkham Knight, looking for revenge for what happened with Talia. We know his body disappeared at the end of Arkham City. I think there's a little Easter egg in there. Actually, when you examine the evidence cases, and Aaron Cash is narrating all the evidence cases, he'll tell you that Ra's al Ghul's body was never recovered.
Yeah.
So obviously he always comes back to life with the Lazarus Pit. So it easily could have been him, because he has the funds to do this.
Yeah.
A lot of characters do, and that's another problem with Jason Todd, is where the hell did he get the funds to build this huge army?
Yeah, it does make you wonder. That's why, for a bit...
I overheard that, when I was playing it, that all the villains had funded Scarecrow.
Yeah, that is part of it. They have pulled together.
So chances are, if maybe that's where he got some of the money, Scarecrow funded it?
It could be, but there are parts where when Batman is trying to find out who the Arkham Knight is, Barbara Gordon tells him that he's been operating for a long time down in South America.
Yeah.
So we know he's had the funds and the mercenaries to be able to do this for quite a while now.
So clearly he's been working at some sort of mercenary and getting money and building up a reputation over the years, with the sole focus of coming back one day to take on Batman. But
it was a very underwhelming reveal, in my opinion. It's one that I think we saw coming, obviously, after those scenes. But still, they still could have done quite a bit with him. They could have made a nice little surprise of who he was. Because again, like when he shot him in the face, that was like, wow, that's a great moment, But then you find out that it's just the Joker messing with Batman's mind again.
Yeah.
But then again, it also doesn't make sense because the Joker did send him the film of him shooting him in the face. He sent the film to Batman way before any of that happened. So again, you're like, well, how did he survive being shot in the face?
Yeah, this is it. But again, it's hiding the fact that it's Bruce thinking these things, not the Joker, by sort of saying that, Joker's lying to you.
Is like even before the events of Arkham Asylum and all that, the Joker sent him footage of how he killed Jason Todd.
That's what I mean, and he's seeing the same footage, so obviously that's why he gets fooled, so to speak, because it's coming from his mind, not the Joker's mind. So that's why the Joker says, "Oh, did I tell you a lie?" later, when he finds out.
Which was great. He's like, "Oh, by the way, I may have lied.
I may have missed a few details."
Yeah, it was great stuff. But yeah, then you got the absolutely terrible encounter with him. In my opinion. It was just dreadful. But yeah, let's kind of skip that. But then, there really isn't any resolution to the encounter with him.
No, there isn't.
And even throughout the rest of the game, like after you finally, do the sequences and the encounter with him, he just kind of disappears. And that's kind of the end of it, up until the last ending of the game, which again, he really doesn't do much of anything that's great.
No, in fact, I almost forgot he was in this.
Yeah. And that's why I think there's a lot of conflict internally with who they wanted to really be the Arkham Knight. And
because at points in that game as well, that made me think there was the current Robin. I thought he might be for a bit. It would explain the funds because he could be siphoning them off Bruce himself, and the constant questioning about Barbara when she's dead, and he won't tell Robin that she's dead, as he said things at the time. And it makes you just think, is he testing him to see if he'll tell him the truth? But it's like, it's sort of a power play sort of thing. And then the secondary thing is, it's all in his head. And the Arkham Knight, none of this is happening, and the Arkham Knight doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Because obviously everything's going a bit crazy in his head, and it's just Scarecrow. But no, it's just Jason.
But that's also one of the things that I found really confusing, I would say, is that after the scene with Barbara Gordon happens and you see Scarecrow come on the intercom or the Arkham Knight, they're always talking about, like, she died because of you. Like, they're telling him that she died.
Yeah.
Or obviously she didn't. So, like, why would they... Like, how would they know what he saw?
Exactly. That's...
It's one of those story missteps, in my opinion, that they kind of didn't really think about.
It was a bit of a weird one.
Yeah. It fed obviously to us like, oh my gosh, she's dead, but story-wise it kind of just doesn't really make sense. But yeah, the Arkham Knight, obviously the big thing everybody talked about. I honestly thought the Arkham Knight's reveal was going to come pretty early in the game, but he came very late in the game.
They tease it a couple of times that it's going to happen.
When he finally captures him, he beats the crap out of him, and he knocks the helmet off, and like the Joker's in this place instead.
Yeah, that was a really good moment as well, because that was a proper trolling moment.
Yeah, he just sits there laughing at him the whole time. But that again leads to another big problem: is after you take down the Arkham Knight, out of nowhere here comes Deathstroke taking over the army. And you're just like, really? Like, so Deathstroke is in the game as a side quest, so you easily could have made him the Arkham Knight, because obviously he has beef with what happened in Arkham Origins.
He's got that militarized Batman feel to him.
Yeah, and he obviously has the skill to take down Batman. Yeah. He has the funds to fund this kind of an army. Why not Deathstroke? Yeah. And of course his whole side quest is a complete repeat of the battle with the Arkham Knight.
Oh, and then when you knock him out of the tank, and that's it.
It was terrible. Like, he jumps out with the sword, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to fight him. And then he, like, clotheslines him in midair and knocks him out. You're just like, really, Batman? That made me sad, because I was like, man, Deathstroke, this fight is going to be awesome. But no, it's just a repeat of the fight in the tank battle.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even see him until that bit as well. It's like the only time you literally see Deathstroke is after he gets kicked out of the tank.
Yeah, you just hear him talking to you when you're doing the side quest to take down the towers and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disappointing. But yeah, let's move on into I guess the ending of the game.
Yeah.
Again, incredibly well done. He throws Barbara Gordon off the roof. We find out that she is alive. Batman hallucinated it. Commissioner Gordon is kind of working with Scarecrow to get Barbara back. He shoots Batman in the chest, knowing he's going to survive. Scarecrow throws Barbara Gordon off the roof. He saves her. Huge tank battle occurs with the Batmobile.
One of the Batmans as well, that one.
Yeah, and pretty much he tells Batman that either, he goes and he captures Robin, Tim Drake, who Batman walked in the cell.
Yeah.
Because of all the hallucinations he was having, and Robin would lock him up.
Yeah, before we move on, that bit was interesting, because I don't get how that bit worked at all.
Which bit?
Yeah, the locking, where you're supposed to volunteer yourself to go in the cell, because you're sick with the Joker stuff. And obviously, if you keep just going in the cell, it keeps repeating the scene over and over again.
The Joker keeps sweating you out.
Yeah, and it's like, and then you're back to where you were. And it's like, but how does that work? It's like, how? Tell me.
Well, the way I understood it, he just hallucinated himself doing the right thing and going into the cell, and Robin take over for everything.
It's a strange little one. But yeah, carry on. So.
But yeah, so, he throws Robin in the cell, locks him in there, tells him that Barbara Gordon is dead. He freaks out, tells him to get the hell out of there. Obviously, you come back later and you tell him that Barbara's alive, and he still tells you to get the hell out of there because he's still pissed off at you. But yeah, the Scarecrow then somehow finds out where Robin is. I don't know. I'm guessing Commissioner Gordon told him where he was under duress. He goes in, he saves, or he captures Robin. He leaves Harley Quinn in the cell. It's really messed up. But she really doesn't play too much of a role. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. So he kidnaps him and he tells him, you're come here and you're going to tell us who you are in front of all the cameras and all that. He kidnaps him, forces him to remove all his equipment and everything, or he's going to kill Commissioner Gordon and Robin. Amazingly, he didn't take off Robin's mask to find out who he was. He just wanted to know who Batman was.
So you're of no consequence. You're just Robin.
Yeah. So you're in this truck, and Batman's talking to Alfred, and he says, Alfred tells him that somebody's tracking him, and he's like, "Oh, I was hoping that he would," and he's obviously referring to Tim Drake, well, not Tim Drake, Jason Todd, because throughout the fight he's trying to convince him that he's on his side, he's trying to help him, as he does in the comics and everything. And then he gets hit by a truck, which we automatically assume, Jason Todd is there to rescue Batman. Well, no. It was another hallucination, which leads to one of the coolest moments in the game, in my opinion, where Batman is pretty much losing his shit at this point. Takes you back to Crime Alley, and a whole bunch of Jokers start jumping the gates and everywhere. And you start fighting them, but when you're doing the takedown moves, he's actually killing them.
Yeah, that's just like, whoa.
Yeah, he's like breaking their necks, breaking their backs. He even does Bane's backbreaker move.
Yeah,
Which was, I think, a great homage to that. But yeah, he's just like killing him, and his eyes start glowing, different color, the green color. And he just starts losing it, and eventually, he kind of comes out of it, and he's captured by Scarecrow. They take him back to Arkham Asylum, kind of going back to where it all began, kind of a thing. And he injects him with a fear toxin, and we get an awesome moment where, again, it's one of those WTF moments is really going on, where I don't know if it's a flashback, I don't know if it's like in the future or anything, but like Penguin, the Riddler, Two-Face, Killer Croc, who has the worst design I've ever seen. He looks like Godzilla, in my opinion, at this point. He's got this gigantic tail. He looks like this big, puffy dinosaur now. He looks nothing like he did in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Like that.
Yeah.
I kill you, you kill me.
He's like Barney and stuff. But they're talking how they finally captured him, and you think like, oh, they finally captured Batman. You see that it's the Joker, and you're like, oh, this is probably in the future, and he's finally taken over Batman, and he just caused so much chaos that the villains teamed up to stop him. And of course, the amazing thing happens, and the Joker mobile crashes through the window.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's like the Batmobile, but it's got like his tongue sticking out of it. It's got the big old smiley face on it. It looks fantastic.
And the missile barrage is called the Killing Joke.
And you're just going and you're just massacring hundreds and hundreds of guys with this machine gun until you get your missile barrage and you just blow everybody up. And then he pops out of the car and he's like, "Come on, boys, let's have some fun." And he puts out like this shotgun. And it goes into this third person shooter.
It starts killing off all the other Batman villains.
You get to like Penguin's like, "Please don't kill me," and it's cool because you can actually not kill him if you want to. If you just walk past him, he's like, "Okay, I'll let you live." He says something comedic. I don't remember what it was, or you can choose to shoot him in the face if you want. And again, he makes a cool comment. So you just go around, you start killing like Penguin, the Riddler, who has Montoya hostage, one of the cops.
Yeah.
You can kill her too if you want. And then you have Two-Face, who kind of forces you to shoot him. You kill him, and as he's walking to the door, he looks down and he sees Commissioner Gordon instead. And like, oh man, he's totally lost it. He's just hallucinating everything. He's killing all his friends. And he goes outside, Gotham City's burning, everything's on fire, there's destruction everywhere. And this is when we realize that this is the inner battle Batman is having.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Batman starts to kind of walk Joker into a maze. He's walking around these tombs. Then it switches to first-person shooter mode. We just see the gun and the flashlight and he's walking around. A lot of cool stuff. You see like the graveyards, the Wayne family gravestones and stuff. You go to his own memorial where Harley Quinn is crying and he's pissed off that there's nobody there.
Yeah, it doesn't like the size of his statue.
Yeah, the statue is all terrible. He's super pissed off, and he goes into a room where on the radio, Jack Ryder, I think it's Jack Ryder, and what's the female reporter? Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale, yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about the Joker, and he's like, "Well, who's the Joker?" It's starting to play that the Joker's greatest fear is being forgotten.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going. Like, if you examine every detail, you find a newspaper of the Riddler, I think, gets married to Harley Quinn or something like that. Instead of the Joker, Like, he's just completely being written out of history, and, like, other villains are taking his place, like Riddler, Penguin, and all that. And, throughout it, you're walking around, there's a nice little scare moment when you walk into it, you turn around, and, like, Batman is literally right in front of you. It kind of gave me a nice little jump scare.
Yeah.
It's just a statue of him, and you start shooting, and you get to this big open area, and you're just unloading on all these Batman statues.
That was really cool, creepy.
Yeah, because you just...
every time you turn around...
Yeah. You just keep getting closer and closer to you. It's very creepy.
Yeah, it was very much like the Doctor Who episodes with the angels.
Yes, it was exactly like...
Every time you look away, there's another one come back.
Yeah, you turn around, you turn back, and it's closer to you. Fantastic stuff. And obviously, Batman breaks out of one of them and takes down the Joker, and then he sees the light. And he's happy. He's like, finally, I'm free. And he goes into this room, which, again, very good stuff, playing with Batman's psyche, where all these cages are hanging. And these are the cages where Batman has pretty much shut out the worst parts of his life that he just doesn't want to remember anymore. I wish they'd go into more detail, like you can examine, like, words and stuff to see what's in some of these cages. Would have been good. But yeah, he comes up, he pushes the exit button, and the cage comes out, and Batman walks out of it. You take control of Batman, and you can infinitely just beat the crap out of the Joker if you want.
You kind of keep going on and on.
Yeah, but you pretty much have to knock him into the cell. And, he knocks him into the cell, and the Joker's afraid now. He's fearful, and he starts saying, "Please, don't do this to me." And at the end, he says, "I need you."
I need you. Yeah, he just literally like, "I need you." Like
and we know at this point that Batman has locked the Joker away forever.
Yeah.
which again is kind of weird because he's kind of cured the Joker with the power of his mind.
I think it's also that obviously he feels guilt for inadvertently killing the Joker in the first place. I think that's his way of closure.
Yeah, but again, it kind of goes in and shows you that the two of them can't really live without each other.
Yeah.
At least the Joker can, but at the end, obviously, Batman shows that he can.
Oh yeah, that's going back to the fact that his psyche can make such an authentic version of Joker because he knows so much about who he is and what he's like.
Yeah, I skipped the part there. Like in the middle of that, it kind of zooms back out with Scarecrow talking to Batman. And at that point, Batman starts laughing with the Joker's laugh, and he says,
"Oh, that's it." Yeah, he says, "Gotham will be doomed," and Batman says, "Good," like that.
Yeah, and Scarecrow's like, "What the hell?" And he stabs him again with more fear toxin, and
he just starts doing the laugh, doesn't he? As well.
Yeah, he starts laughing hysterically, and his eyes start glowing green, and we're like, "Oh my god, the Joker is taking over!" And I honestly thought that's how the game was going to end, with the Joker taking over, and that Commissioner Gordon or Robin is going to have to put him down or up or something.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
It would have been great, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A nice twist there. But, yeah, Ben, from what I've described, you obviously said the Joker mobile sounds cool.
Yeah, I want to play the whole game as the Joker Batman. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Joker Man.
It's kind of a hint. Maybe, their next game might be a third-person shooter, They kind of mess with first-person and third-person there towards the end.
So that whole end section was just so Hideo Kojima. It was unreal. Just like it was just headbutt after headbutt. It was so well done.
Very inner battle and very incredibly done. Again, kudos to them for that.
Yeah. So we're almost an hour of talking about this. So we'll wrap up the actual proper ending.
Yes, the true ending. Did you watch the true ending?
Yes.
Nightfall stuff?
Yes, I've seen the whole ending now. So.
Okay, so we'll just skim through it really quick. So everybody knows, he unmasks Batman, and everybody now knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. In front of the cameras and everything. They stop Scarecrow. He gets natural immunity to the fear toxin and Joker's poison blood and whatever. So he flies back to the mansion. He walks in with Alfred. They activate something called Nightfall, which for those who don't know, Nightfall is a comic with Bane breaking Batman's back, Azrael taking over as Batman. He goes in and, the manor explodes, and everybody thinks Batman is dead. We know better, because Batman would never kill himself and Alfred. And, the game kind of picks up, a few months later, the story?
Yeah, basically.
And, Commissioner Gordon is now the mayor of Gotham City. Barbara Gordon is getting married to Tim Drake. And we get this homage to the origins of Batman, where, this mom, her husband, and their son are walking down an alley, and they're getting jumped by two guys. And it plays out exactly like it happened with Batman, where, he rips off her pearl necklace, the pearls fall on the ground. And out of nowhere, they woke up, and there's this image of, they think he's Batman, but they're not afraid of him anymore, because they know that it's Bruce Wayne. They know it's a man. And then just out of nowhere, he starts floating into the air, and, his eyes start going red, and he, explodes in this explosion, and that's how it ends. A lot of talk about that scene, in particular, is that Batman, or is that somebody else? If you did Azrael's side quest, he's there to take over as Batman.
Yeah, despite being a bit more sinister than he turns out.
Yes, you find out that he's kind of being mind-controlled by the Order. I don't remember the Order that he works for. But in his story, you actually get a choice. You can either leave Batman alone and walk out, or you can pick up the sword and try to kill Batman.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do will depend on, obviously, the ending to that side quest. The last scene, though, let's go back to that really quick. It looks a lot to me like Batman. I'm pretty sure that is still Bruce Wayne Batman, but I think he's starting to use Scarecrow's fear toxin on his enemies to scare the crap out of them now.
Yeah.
It kind of looks that way. Obviously, it could be Superman dressed up as Batman.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's all sorts of options. There could be, the fact that he projects out this big flaming bat thing. Slight hint of a Lantern Corps.
Maybe. Or the fear
Batman.
lanterns as well.
Yeah, I mean, because Batman does that, obviously, in comics. So there's so many ways it could go with it. I mean, the most obvious answer would be saying it's Azrael. And
yes.
That's his sort of thing. But I don't really know if I'd want to play an Azrael Batman game. So, he comes off the it's what's it? The guy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the hockey mask.
Oh,
Casey Jones, yeah.
Yes,
that's it. He just looks like Casey Jones in Altair's clothing. So, yeah, nothing that really appeals to that if it's him.
But yeah, that scene was cool. I enjoyed it. Obviously, they're probably not going to continue with it. It's just open for interpretation, whatever you want to believe is going on there.
I think someone will continue with it.
Well,
maybe.
I'm pretty sure they'll continue the franchise, but I think they're going to go off of Origins story now and kind of focus more on the Suicide Squad aspect that they introduced in Origins.
Yeah.
That's the spoilers for Batman. There's more to talk about, but obviously we've already talked about it for an hour.
Yeah, there you go. 60 minutes of Batman spoilers.
Yeah, so skip 60 minutes of this podcast.
Yeah, skip half of it.
But we're going to rush through the last 15 minutes.
Sorry, that actually did take longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, well, it's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, it's a very good game, to be honest. All said and done. Batmobile bits, they probably weren't up to par with the rest of the game, but they weren't as debilitating as many made out.
Yeah. Let's shift focus but kind of stick a little more for the video games right now. Obviously, Marvel, DC are the two biggest, the most known, but there's a lot of comic book publishers out there. EW, Top Cow, Image Comics. There's
Skybound.
Yeah. Some people think Vertigo is its own, but it's actually owned by DC. They just let them operate on their own a little bit. A lot of stuff, and there's been a lot of movies and a lot of games based on these comic books as well, but people really don't realize that they're comic books because it doesn't say Marvel or DC on them. Let's talk a little bit about these. What are some of your guys' favorites? Neil,
outside the main ones?
Outside of Marvel and DC that you've played.
Well, yeah, Walking Dead has been one for ages. I love Walking Dead. It's just...
Yes, which is actually kind of based more around the movies than the comic books, isn't it?
Walking Dead?
The game, yeah.
The game, it's comic book based mainly.
Is it mostly based on a comic book rather than...
Yeah, they live in that world of what's going on. That's why Herschel is very different. That's why...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's more tied in, and I think that's why they get away with being more brutal, because the comics are more brutal. Like season 2 of The Walking Dead.
Michonne DLC coming out as well.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Which she looks exactly like she does in the TV show. That's why I was a little confused.
Oh, because she looks like that in the comic.
Well,
that's what I mean.
Kudos to them for giving her proper dress code.
It's like some characters do. I mean, characters like Maggie doesn't look like that in the comic books, and Herschel doesn't look anything like Herschel. I mean, the best ones were probably Dale, Andrea, and as I said just now, and there's a lot of stuff changes in the TV show. But things like, I mean, again, going to spoiler territory here, but not really. If you've watched The Walking Dead up to this point, it's not a spoiler. They hint a couple of seasons back that the baby would die like that because they'd left it alone and there was a blood-smeared car chair thing. And in the comic books, both baby and mother die at the same time because in the original prison raid, when they get blown to bits, that's what I mean. It's a far, far darker thing than the television show. I mean, like Herschel has more kids in the that also die horribly in the comics.
Yeah, in the comics, I know they've kind of strayed quite a bit from the comics at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, like characters like Tyrese, he was a big badass character.
Yeah.
Door and stuff like that, and they just made him
towards his end.
Yeah, he was just such a wimp in the TV show.
Yeah, and what's her name? Who's the girl that was with Michonne?
Andrea?
Yeah, she becomes a badass in the comic.
And she's doing the dirty with Dale most of it as well.
Yeah.
And Dale lives longer. It's like, the only reason he was out of the TV show is because he was such a good friend of Frank Darabont. Of course, he got kicked out of that series. So, yes, which is still probably one of the more shocking things I've ever seen on telly, because I like Dale as a character, and the fact that they killed him off like they did, I just didn't expect it. I was just like, oh, damn.
But yeah, so Walking Dead, anything else?
Walking Dead, trying to think of good ones. A weird out there one, probably American Splendor, which is cartoonist Harvey Pekar, who actually does a comic book about his own life. It was Paul Giamatti played him in the film.
Nice.
And it was just like, and it's just it's a movie about him narrating his life and doing comic books about narrating his life. So it's like it's like an indie film. It's not superhero in any way, and it's not traditionally comic booky, but it's a really cool little thing. It's just like it's tough to get into, but yeah, it's like basically his little musings on the world, and it's like Garfield for the arts, if you will.
I love Garfield.
Just trying to think of other ones there outside of that. Oh, goodness me. I was going to say Dark Tower, but that is still technically Marvel. But,
it is now because Marvel did buy it.
Yeah, that's
but it wasn't before.
Yeah, and that was a good comic series so far. So
yeah, definitely read the books if you want to know Dark Tower. I think it's like books. The book, maybe more.
The book paints a very specific picture, and the comics just didn't quite do it as much for me, but they were still good books.
Yeah, it is a Stephen King series, so
yeah.
Just throw that.
I just remember the very, very obvious one, as I remember, because it was probably one of the first sort of comic books I read outside of Marvel or DC, and that's Judge Dredd, which is just Judge Dredd is just amazing stuff.
Judge Dredd was great.
Yeah,
that character and that world.
It is, and some great stories, like Judge Death is just an amazing villain as well. I love the fact they've never really done anything with him outside of the comics is just ridiculous.
Yeah. What about games?
Games-wise, I think I said on the last podcast of this we did that 13 was one of them that was quite cool because it came across very comic book anyway.
It's supposed to be a trilogy, and ended up with one game. They should never announce a game as a trilogy because this is what happens.
In fact, wasn't that Ubisoft put that out?
Yes.
Yeah, and around that time, they were making lots of these quite daring games when you consider by modern standards for Ubisoft that they never did sequels for, so, despite being asked again and again. Yeah, I was trying to think what else is really a comic book that got made into stuff. Well, one you'll probably touch upon in a minute, I'd imagine, is The Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's very good. I mean, again, different stories, but because the stuff in the Darkness games are very much only a part of that whole comic book. But yeah, really good all the same. Yeah, they're my main sort of ones.
Alright, what about you, Ben?
I never really looked into other comic books outside of Marvel and DC, if I'm honest.
Games.
Yeah, Darkness. I love that game. It was amazing.
I do love the second one more, I think.
Yeah, I like the second one more, and I hate the fact that it ends like it does.
Yes, and it's still no resolution.
Yeah, I want Darkness 3, damn it, just to find out what happens.
Alright, well, for me, comic-wise, I did read a lot of Ninja Turtles back in the day. Great stuff there. I know a lot of people don't think Ninja Turtles started as the TV or the movies and stuff, and maybe the animated series, but it was a comic book first.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles, I did pick up some of the Darkness comic books. I know Witchblade is a lot more popular comic book-wise than the Darkness. It takes place in the same world. The two are actually arch nemesis. They're trying to kill each other. But yeah, I do love the Darkness. I just think it's a much deeper story where he's this hitman who loses his girlfriend in a very brutal way. And I think the first game actually did it very well. The way that they kill his girlfriend, that one moment when you're sitting on the couch and you're just watching To Kill a Mockingbird on the TV in game, which was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a nice little touch.
Yeah, and you can just watch the whole movie, like the whole hour and a half, 2 hour movie if you wanted to.
Yeah, just craziness.
Yeah, and and then they kidnap her. The cops are corrupted. They kill her, and he finally lets the darkness out. He's had the darkness inside him the whole time, and he's known about it, but he's kind of suppressed it. And at that point, he just lets it go, and he just goes on a killing rampage.
Yeah, well, they were sort of aiming for it, seemed at that point. Probably regretted afterwards, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of him going to like the World War II version of Hell in the first game. Those are very frustrating moments.
I'm going to slap my head. I just remember saying I remember, but you carry on.
Yeah, but definitely The Darkness 2 is obviously a much better game. That game probably had more execution moves than Mortal Kombat does.
Yeah, it's so stylish. It's just cool.
Yeah, the cell shading was done great. The story I thought was fantastic because you're playing the game and you're like, he's in an asylum, but then he's also going around murdering, and like, is he insane? And he's just imagining all of this, or is he actually doing it?
Yeah, and it's told in such a concise manner, so it's not a very long game. But
which is a shame.
It's a shame, but at the same time, the concise nature of it means that the story runs along quite well, flows well.
Yeah. The second game is definitely based more on the comic, whereas the first one was kind of just using the license of the comic, because it was more realistic graphically and everything, whereas this one was more cel-shaded.
Yeah.
This one started introducing more characters from the comic, like Angelus, I believe her name is. It's this evil angel who's out to destroy the darkness once and for all.
That's what they basically play out at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, and you get to make the decision at the end. It's like, do I stick with this world that if I believe is real or not, or do I commit to my full insanity of this darkness world instead? It's a great decision to make. Kind of reminded me of that episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where she gets injected with like the venom and she starts thinking, she's in an asylum, imagining this whole.
Oh yeah.
And then she makes the decision at the end, which is real and which isn't.
There's a few of them, that.
It leaves interpretation too. Is like, oh man, is she just hallucinating all of this? Is it in her mind?
Also, an episode of Doctor Who that did that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. The Darkness was great. Hyperstone Heist. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist. Still one of the best beat 'em ups I ever played.
It is a good one.
Based on the Ninja Turtles license. Good stuff. There's been a lot more. They're just not very good. We had Danger Girl on the PS1. Not very good. They tried to do a game of 100 Bullets, which recently Sylvester Stallone was in the movie for that. That game was canceled. They had Judge Dredd games. There's the ones based on the movie, and then there's the one that released on the PS2, which was Judge Dredd, Dredd vs. Death.
Which is when Rebellion bought out the comic book studio itself and started making a game.
Did you ever play that game?
Yeah. It's like, Rebellion is one of those, I quite like their stuff. It's never great, but it's usually quite solid. They do stuff like Zombie Army Trilogy.
Yeah.
And Sniper Elite, I suppose.
Aliens vs. Predator.
Aliens vs. Predator again, based on a comic book, which is really good. And yeah.
Man,
good stuff. It's not bad.
Yeah, I actually did enjoy it. I thought it was quite fun. You get his gun. It was very true to the comics and the character of Judge Dredd. He can arrest people or he can just kill them and not give a crap, depending on their crime. And you get. I think you only get 2 weapons, right? You get a shotgun and you get his pistol that does.
The Lawbringer, yeah.
It's a pistol. It's a rocket launcher. It's a grenade launcher. It's a machine gun. All these cool stuff, but
rapid fire.
Yeah, it's great. You can switch between the ammo types whenever you want. But yeah, it had zombies, it had vampires. He took down a lot of the other judges. Some pretty cool boss fights in that game. I very much enjoyed it. I know it wasn't very well received in any way, but I was once hoping that there would be a sequel to that game.
Yeah,
Judge
I think at the time.
Character.
I think, yeah, there was probably a bit of outpouring at the time because Rebellion had just bought out character, and traditional comic book fans go nuts and things like that because it's like, oh, they're going to change everything that we've done. So yeah, it got a lot of criticism at the time just because of that, and it was probably a bit unfair. Though, in fairness, having read a fair bit of Judge Dredd in the years since Rebellion have taken over, it's a bit hit and miss. There are good stories, there are bad stories. There's a lot of retreading of old stuff, and it's just fine. But
and there have been crossovers as well. There's the Batman Judge Dredd crossover, which was great because I'll never forget that one sequence in that comic where Batman headbutts Judge Dredd and just breaks his helmet, which is pretty great. I never actually read the comic. I just remember seeing pictures of it. Great stuff. I have no idea what the story. I think Judge Dredd goes to Gotham City or something like that.
Yeah, it's some nonsense, basically.
Yeah.
Crossovers usually are some kind of nonsense that wouldn't normally make sense.
But yeah, we got the movie Dredd, which I thought was a fantastic movie.
That was so much better. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's just a shame we're never going to get a sequel to that movie.
Again, which is just sad.
Yeah, it was very low budget. It didn't succeed in theaters, but it made like quadruple the money on DVD than it would have done. They made more money on the DVD than if they would have released it in theater, and the same amount of people would have gone and seen it. But yeah, unfortunately, no sequel. I thought it was a great movie, personally.
Ben's just posted the Eminem Punisher crossover. That's a good crossover.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Is that real?
Yeah, it's real.
Okay, so apparently Eminem, the rapper, crossed over with the Punisher at one point in the comic. This is why the Punisher is not fun anymore, people.
Yes. Listen to the synopsis as well. Eminem is performing at a concert, and once the show is concluded, he leaves in a limo. They're stopped by the Punisher, who's standing right where they need to go. Eminem and his crew get out angrily to move him out of the way. The Punisher merely opens fire on them, killing many of them. Eminem runs, firing behind him as he does so, but is pulled out of the building by Barracuda. I'm not going to read it anymore because it sounds ridiculous. And the way that front cover is done as well, it just looks like Punisher's got really weird arms. I'm going to point my gun all dainty like, ooh.
How many pages is this? I'm going to buy this.
I love the location as well. It's Earth TRN 194, Detroit, and Lake outside Detroit.
Oh, God. It's fantastic.
Nice. Thank you, Ben, for that.
No problem.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move on then.
I'll just mention that one thing I forgot to mention. I really would hate myself if I'd forgotten. Which is to say, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yes.
I love the movie. I love the comic books. I think about it.
The game was fun. It was harder
than
hell.
Fun as well.
Harder than hell, but man, was that game fun.
Yeah. And the chiptune stuff for that was amazingly good as well.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim was great. Very underrated movie. Obviously, it didn't make any money for them, but I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah, probably my favourite Edgar Wright film. I love his stuff. With Spaced and Some of the Dead and that, but that is by far my favourite film of his. Just seeing it in the cinema was just an absolute treat because it popped out of the screen brilliantly. And yes, people like Chris Evans is awesome in that, and Brandon Routh was amazing. That whole section of the whole vegan powers, and it just still makes me laugh to this day. The fact that Tom Jane, who of course played the Punisher on screen, coming in as the vegan police. So, he says, "That's not dairy," and he said, "Milk and eggs, bitch." I just love it. It's just the film, the soundtrack to that film as well. Just, beautiful. Yeah, we can move on now. I just have to remember that because it's like one of my favourite movies ever. So,
all right, let's move on to Comic-Con now, which happened last weekend. So it's perfect timing for us to do this now. A lot of stuff happened at Comic-Con, mostly from DC. Marvel didn't really attend this time, but 20th Century Fox took care of that for them.
Yeah.
All the rumors why Marvel didn't attend, but they're just rumors, so who knows. I'm not going to mention them out here. But let's talk Marvel right now, because we talked a lot about DC last time, and hopefully we'll get into DC again this time. Let's talk about Marvel first. So we got the Deadpool trailer, which was behind closed doors that's leaked online. What did you guys think of the Deadpool trailer? Actually, let me go first. I have really high hopes for this movie. I was really happy that it's getting an R rating, because I don't think Deadpool can be done without an R rating.
Not properly. No.
But I was kind of disappointed in the trailer. I felt the humor was very rushed. I didn't find it funny at all. And which is sad, because in the comics I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But, with the whole character, Ryan Reynolds looks... I know he's actually kind of buff, but he looks really skinny in the suit. Like, really skinny, and it looks really awkward when he's in the suit.
It's often a problem, I think, when you do get certain characters onto the big screen, how to do them properly. And it'll probably come back to that in a bit, I think, with certain other characters that got revealed.
Yeah, and I just feel like Deadpool, like, as much as I like him, I'm not the biggest fan of him in his own comic, because I just think it's too much. When he's in a crossover with, like, Cable or the X-Men or any other crossover, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But
totally.
By himself, it just gets too much. I also noticed that when he's breaking the fourth wall in the movie, it's as if he's just talking to himself. Because in the trailer we see he's talking to his scarred self and to his regular self.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're doing a split personality for breaking the fourth wall, or if he's actually going to be talking to the audience, which is what he should be doing.
Well, he kind of has a split personality that causes him to talk to the fourth wall, because the bubble he thinks is us is in his mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. But I kind of agree. I love Deadpool. I love this game, even though it was average at best. I've got a lot of his comics. I even buy a lot of his standard solo comics. But I agree, as much as I love the guy, he is an amazing, funny character. And I recommend a lot of those crossovers. And to be honest, out of all of them, I still recommend, if you want a good solo one, Deadpool versus Marvel and Deadpool versus Deadpool. just because of Deadpool Galactus.
There's also a very good one that's come out in the recent Secret Wars thing.
Ah, cool.
So yeah, it's typically him. It's like all these stories happening that are like echoes of old stories. I can't remember what it's called.
But no, Deadpool Galactus was amazing. Just a giant version of Galactus that's Deadpool.
Nice.
I'll have to find you guys an image of that sometime. But I do recommend those as solo outings, because even though the solo outings are still good, but most of the time, yeah, I'd recommend always having a crossover with Deadpool. Yeah,
that was it. The current one he's coming out is Mrs. Deadpool and the Howling Commandos.
Oh yeah, because he got married to a vampire, didn't he?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the vampire queen is now his wife.
Yeah, it's fun. Well, look at it. It's I noticed it in the crop of releases coming out, and I was like, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I think
that's my opinion of the trailer. I still have hopes for it, but I don't think it was a very good trailer.
I do think it'll suffer from the old Ryan Reynolds syndrome. Probably the best thing in it will be him, and as a result, the movie generally tends to be a bit fun. Like, his previous Deadpool appearance, the first half of it was easily the best part of that Wolverine movie. But Duff, is probably had the best lines in Blade Trinity, but film Duff. Again, Green Lantern, best thing. Duff. He just has this horrible run where he's easily the best thing in the film, and the film turning to be rubbish otherwise. So it'd be nice if this was different, but yeah, it's kind of looking that way.
What did you think of the trailer, Ben?
From what I saw of it, again, I watched it, but the quality was so bad that I was kind of annoyed. I was kind of like, this isn't how I want to watch this trailer. I'm really looking forward to this movie, yet this trailer is such a bad quality.
Yeah, it was the same with the Suicide Squad one when it leaked. It was like, it was good, but it's like, it gave me more goosebumps when I actually got to watch the version.
Actually, I stopped the Suicide Squad one before I watched it and watched the original. I couldn't wait for Deadpool though. I liked it, and I like the fact they're covering kind of the origins. But it is definitely following the leaked script that came out several years ago.
Yeah. I think I said I'd like to see it if they just sort of took the mick out of Ryan Reynolds playing Green Lantern in the film. Just to keep that sort of meta aspect to it. Or just referencing Ryan Reynolds himself. I think would be cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sort of thing. It's like, that's where you can sort of do something different with the character but still follow his same sort of pattern. That's what you want. You want crossovers and taking the mick out of the established stuff. And what better way?
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from Deadpool then. Let's go Daredevil Season 2. We now know that Elektra has been cast for Season 2.
Yep.
And we know that the Punisher has been cast, who is played by...
John Bernthal.
I don't remember. Do you remember his name?
Yeah, John Bernthal. He played Shane in The Walking Dead.
But will it be teaming up with Eminem? I think that's the biggest question.
Eminem better be in this season. Better be the first episode with the Punisher trying to kill Eminem.
Well, come on, if you're going to keep it authentic, it's in New York, so obviously Jay-Z has to be in it, not Eminem.
That's fantastic. But,
P. Diddy.
Yeah, I think Punisher is a perfect fit. Obviously, same city, same type of dark style.
Yeah, I think
Elektra plays a big role in Daredevil's world. I'm excited for the cast. I think he actually is a natural fit for that character.
he is. Well, yeah, just going from his performance as Shane in The Walking Dead, he's got that sort of unstable edge that the Punisher has, where he's still cool, calm, and collected, but he looks like he would just kill you in a second if you wanted to. And yeah, that's it. I love that. The Punisher's one of those characters. I just love the character, just not enough to go on with him. As we said before, he just generally tends to kill everyone in his universe, and then where do you go? Yeah, I'm interested to see how it'll work out, if it's a versus or just a you're in my way sort of thing. They're both trying to do the same job but with different angles. So I'm not going to kill people, but you're going to kill people, and all that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Season 1 was just great, so it's going to get better.
Yeah, unfortunately, I still haven't gone through it. I told these guys before we started, the reason I haven't gone through it is I try to watch it at work, and the dialogue is so quiet, but the action is so loud that it was impossible for me to watch it, because I would have to constantly mute and increase the volume, lower it, increase it every time, and I just couldn't do it. So I do have to watch it at home. I'm sorry that I still haven't watched it yet. But, yeah, Ben, what do you think of this news?
I think it's good. I watched the whole of Daredevil Season 1. I loved it. I wish Season 2 was out already. I want it now.
Yeah, that's what I hated about it, was the fact that I finished it in like 2 weeks. I had to stop myself from watching it all in one go, because I just love it.
But there's one thing I do dislike.
Go on.
My favourite character died. Well, not my favourite character, but one of my favourite villains died.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Wesley.
Yeah, Wesley.
Yeah. I really wanted to. He reminded me of Talbot from Uncharted 3.
Yeah, I just liked the guy. It was. You could tell that he wasn't really that. He was evil, but at the same time, he was just.
Yeah. He was business evil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he had a business mind, and he was doing things that way. But yeah, his final episode was just.
Yeah, I don't like how they killed him.
Yeah, but his speeches were just brilliant, and that's why I didn't expect them to kill him off like that. But yeah, they did. No.
Especially with the person who killed him. I thought that was weird.
I still can't get over the fact that Foggy Nelson, the big kid from the Mighty Ducks, it just throws me off completely.
Actually, I never watched that movie, so. But yeah, that's annoyed me. I wanted I wanted to see him in season 2 as a main thing.
Yeah, well, there was some good stuff there. I mean, like Stick was well done as well.
Yeah,
which is,
they were all good.
It's like it just grounded it really well. I mean, yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is just pretty much one of my favourite Marvel villain roles they've done. Any of them, it's just perfectly done. Just this mild-mannered man who
just wants what he wants.
just that episode where you've sort of got to know he might be a bit menacing, but he also has this gentlemanly side, and then he just smashes that guy's head into a car door repeatedly, to the point where he actually explodes the guy's head. And it's like, and it's the first time in the series where you think, Christ, this ain't your mama and papa's Marvel. This is brutal stuff.
Yeah, which leads me to believe, like, can this really cross over with the cinematic universe? I personally don't think it can, because
not in the same way. No,
two styles meshing against each other is never good.
I remember on the last podcast I said this. I said the Punisher would be a perfect fit for this universe.
Yeah,
it's part of the universe because and you could probably say the same for Blade as well.
Yeah, can you see Blade being introduced in this show?
I could, because it just fits.
It'd be perfect.
I don't know if I can see Daredevil fighting vampires though.
Yeah,
he'll die pretty quickly.
No, but it could fit in that corner of having Marvel shows that are bloody and. Because I'll say this, they've got quite a diverse list of shows out now because they've sort of handed them off to different people, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is what it is, and it's got more interesting as time's gone. There's stuff like Agent Carter. In fact, it's espionage in the 40s, not anything traditionally Marvel. And it's quite nice, it's cool, it's different, and a good female lead in Haley Atwell. I've quite enjoyed it so far. Yeah, there's so many good little things they're doing, and the fact they have Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist is still to come to Netflix as well, to all tie in with this whole Daredevil stuff, make the Defenders. And I think, they're going to be interesting characters because, again, they do things that aren't as regular as the regular Marvel universe. There's profanity and sex and hefty violence, and they'll fit perfectly. It'll be cool to see.
Mm-hmm. What was I going to say? Oh, little side note. There's rumors going around that Agent Carter might actually be the mother of Tony Stark.
That would be.
Somebody asked her a question, and she kind of dodged the question when they asked her that. The actress, I should say.
Yes.
So, you never know. The other big stuff, behind closed doors, they showed off the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. Amazingly, it didn't leak like everything else did.
No, but they have since shown pictures of Apocalypse.
Yes, they've shown pictures. They've shown pictures of some of the cast. We've seen what Psylocke looks like. We've seen what Magneto looks like. They've also announced the Horseman for the movie that he's going to have. So, for those who don't know, Apocalypse has gone through a lot of Horsemen.
Just a few.
It's Cyclops, Wolverine, Gambit. Almost everybody has been a Horseman at some point. But for this movie, apparently they've announced that the 4 Horsemen that he's going to have are obviously Archangel, which is probably the constant that he always has.
Yeah, that's your pillar, basically, if you're going to do it.
So if he wasn't, it would have just been weird. Psylocke is going to be. Storm is the next one, and then Magneto is the last one. They haven't said which one each one of them is going to be yet, so I don't know which one is Pestilence, which one is War, so... But yeah, those are...
I want to say that Magneto would be like War, and Storm would be Pestilence.
In the current universe that they've made for the films, I'd say, you're probably right with Magneto.
And Storm being like Pestilence being stormy crops. Destroying the crops.
Still unconfirmed if Hugh Jackman will be in this movie as Wolverine. Or if Wolverine would even be in this movie. I hope he is, personally, but still unknown. But do you guys like this choice for the Horsemen?
It's not my first choices, but like I said, I'm glad they got Angel in there to be one of them. That's fine. Psylocke's a bit of a offbeat one. I don't really. One of those characters, I always wondered why they've never got around to have a major role on screen. But then I always wonder more, why isn't Gambit on screen more? And then when they do that,
Yeah.
do what they did. But, yeah, it's not a bad set, to be honest. It's like, it gives more characters a chance to be on screen, rather than just taking a lot of established characters and putting them as the Horsemen.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's fine.
I'm not the biggest fan of Magneto that's here, because obviously in the comics, Magneto's the one leading the war against Apocalypse. You know, and it's kind of sad that he's a villain in this one. I think it would be great if he would have teamed up with Charles Xavier trying to stop Apocalypse rather than, again, being against him.
Well, this goes back to the whole thing with Fantastic Four, where Fox seem to be just trying to go against the norm as hard as they can and change things for the sake of changing things. Which, you know, fair enough if it does it well and it's right. Sometimes, I agree. I think it's probably not going to work out right. But, you know, they've got so much stuff to do with it. Who knows?
Yeah, what about Apocalypse as a look? What do you think of that?
To be honest, if he was like he was in the comics and in the animated TV show, he'd look ridiculous. I have no doubt about that. But I don't know, he just looks too generic. The best way to put it. He just doesn't look much of anything.
He looks like the main villain from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it really does. Not even a good version.
And I think that's kind of the
and size, as we came back to earlier. He's just not very...
I'm looking it up now. You know what he reminds me of?
What's that?
A cheap Doctor Who villain.
Yeah, which doesn't surprise me in a way.
It looks a bit like those Saigons, but blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it's still the movie. We haven't seen it. We don't know how good it's going to be. I haven't been disappointed in the last two X-Men movies, so I don't think...
No, I quite enjoyed it, to be honest.
I'm just hoping that he is able to expand his size to be the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah. And it's just the fact that generally he isn't very bulky either as a character.
Yeah.
And it just... he doesn't seem all that intimidating. It's like they just took the plot of The Mummy and painted him purple.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hugh Jackman also kind of hinted that the third Wolverine movie may actually be an Old Man Logan movie. I'm all for this because I think Old Man Logan was a great comic. My only problem, my only problem with it is almost everybody who's appeared in that comic, 20th Century Fox is not allowed to use.
Yeah, the Daredevil, Hulk, things like that. But,
yeah, Red Skull, Hawkeye, you know,
and
who are they going to use?
And then there's, even if they did happen, you'd have to explain away a lot of other things that happen. It's just, like the other characters, like the Baby Hulk and things like that. Oh, just, yeah, it's nuts.
But, yeah.
Yeah, a good way to go, all the same.
Yeah, and it's a good way to finish off his run. He said that the third Wolverine movie will be his last time portraying the character. Which is kind of sad. I think he's, again, a natural Wolverine. I honestly can't see anybody playing Wolverine outside of him.
No, it's going to be the first sort of major comic book character casualty since the Big Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because mostly, unless the character's been a flop, the characters stay the same. And it's something, a problem Marvel will have in the next few years, where certain people don't obviously not want to do it anymore after doing several films. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they ever do. Obviously, Fox are going to keep making these movies as the X-Men just to keep the license, which is sad. I really would like to see Hugh Jackman of the X-Men era as Wolverine in proper Marvel universe. It would have been great, especially with Civil War and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it is sad. Like I said, I'm still a fan of the movies. I think they're still great, except for the third one. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the big change for Marvel. Then we're getting a reboot of Marvel come October, I believe it is.
Yeah, all new, all different.
All new, all different Marvel. I don't know if that's what they're gonna call it. I don't know if that's the official.
I think that's been their basic header of what they're doing.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is changing. A lot of stuff. A lot of people are happy. A lot of people are not, depending on some of the characters. But obviously, this is all going to lead from the Secret Wars that's going on right now. That's going to end the Marvel Universe, and the new one will begin. How is the Secret Wars, Neil? You've been reading it.
I've been reading bits of it, yeah. It's been pretty good so far from some of the stuff I've read. It's been, obviously, in the aftermath, there's been lots of echoes of old stories being told new and different ways, which has been, I mean, there's stuff like MODOK Assassin, which is just ridiculous. It's like Deadpool ridiculous. You know, they just turned MODOK into this gun-toting badass. The entirety of the comic. And it's just, you get callbacks to stuff like Civil War and the Zombie Universe and stuff, and X-Men 92, which is based on the cartoon series of X-Men. Planet Hulk's in there, Old Man Logan, as I mentioned earlier, Mrs. Deadpool and the Howling Commandos, things like that. But yeah, the whole lead up to it, which is it's crazy. It's basically the Ultimate Universe is sort of colliding with the normal Marvel Universe, and then you start getting all these weird crossovers of characters. So you know, several Spider-Mans, different versions of each character, like you said, and only certain versions of them are surviving into the new era of comics. So obviously they're killing off characters, but not killing off characters in some cases because there are at least a couple of versions to go on. But they've got some good stuff for the end of Ultimate, because obviously this ends the Ultimate Universe as it was, which has produced some great stories, great characters over the years.
Yeah, from 2000 to 2015.
Yeah. It's just like the Ultimate End storyline for it is really good, and some of those characters are surviving through. Like Miles Morales is still going to be in it, in a sort of Spider-Man comic where there's several spider folk, if you will.
That should be the new. That should be the name of the series. Spider Folk.
Spider Folk. Spider Folk.
Spider Folk laws. Set
in Yorkshire. Like.
Oh, I want a Yorkshire Spider-Man now. That'd be amazing.
Yorkshire.
One sec, I'll come save you after I have this cup of tea.
Yeah, but most characters in the build-up to the end of the universe have their own little thing. Punisher, going back to him, has a really cool little story where he basically kills a bunch of villains who have got this big sweep to watch the end of the world. Like he just basically bursts in and murders them all. And then he just goes off looking for more terrorists until the world ends. It is just typically that each story sort of encapsulates what's great about that character, makes them think about their time. Like Peter Parker himself gets a chance to change his life again when it all winds down. And he gets to have a family again, and it's a really nice story, that one that he has. Oh, it's just, again, going back to it, it's just so many things that these sort of echoes then that you get afterwards, where like the worlds are all a bit out of sync. The Doom basically ends up being God after the universe is imploded. And all that comes.
Also, one of the biggest twists was the fact that what do we call it? What's his name? The Flame guy. God damn it!
Human Torch. Yeah.
Human Torch became the new Sun because he pissed off Doom. So Doom turned him into the Sun.
Yeah, but the fact that Doom is a god and still can't let go of his petty war with Reed Richards is just hilarious. It is proper Doom still in that sense. That even though he's got all this power, he still can't stop that one human thing about him, which is hating Reed Richards. But yeah, ultimately he's the one trying to save the world. His ego is that big that he thinks he's the one to do it. And yeah, he's not entirely successful, let's be honest. But yeah, it's going really, really well so far. They're starting the proper launch out soon. You can see some stories are winding up. There's been some really, really good comics. Not just like the main characters, but like I said, that MODOK one was just ridiculously good. and there's like stuff that's set in different times with current characters, and it gives them free rein to do all sorts of crazy shit, and they do. And yeah, so I could say more, but there's just so much stuff. It's worth reading. A lot of it. There's enough reading material to last you a long time at the minute. I definitely recommend that this is a good starting point if you've not really got into comics before, because it will pretty much take things in all new directions of starting from scratch, if you will, and it'll be great. That was a minute's silence.
That was the best bit. It was just to declare the sadness of losing Doom.
Sorry, I was talking, but apparently I was on mute.
I saw your image come up and I was like, well, it's coming up, but no one's talking.
We had to take a minute's silence over all those deaths in the Marvel Universe. It's respect. Virtual respect. Oh, we screwed up. Shh, don't tell anyone.
That's awesome. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about some of these changes and what you guys think. So, Logan is out as Wolverine. He's obviously staying as Old Man Logan now.
Yeah.
And taking over as Wolverine is X-23. She's wearing the 92 yellow and blue costume now.
Mm-hmm.
Good or bad change?
Good change.
Good change. It's nice. It's the same-ish character, but it's different variety. Yeah.
Because, the whole Wolverine being dead thing, it was just this. Once this got announced, this whole thing, it was like, well, that's never going to stay the same, is it? Because there's more than one Logan, and when has he ever stayed dead? When has anyone ever stayed dead in these universes, to be honest? But
Now,
I said half the people in this are probably definitely turning up with some sort of weird storyline later down the line where they died for no reason at all.
Okay, let me ask you this then: is this move, and actually quite a bit of these moves that they've made, is it in spite of 20th Century Fox?
The Fantastic Four stuff is? Definitely.
Most definitely, yes. Do you believe the Wolverine stuff is? Like, if they're bringing in Old Man Logan, 20th Century Fox doesn't own the rights to that character.
I think it's a double-edged one.
To Wolverine 92 onwards.
Because technically they could use secondary characters if they've appeared in certain things. So, I don't know, maybe they will. And maybe that is why they've done it. But at the same time, you have that real problem of, like we said earlier, of Hugh Jackman retiring the role. Which means that rather than let someone else do it and sort of go, well, it isn't Hugh Jackman, if someone else entirely, with a different gender is playing Wolverine, you could pass it off that way. I mean, like they did with Magneto's kids in Age of Ultron. They got round that by having them, be genetically engineered rather than be mutants. That is probably that. The Fantastic Four stuff is just the saddest disaster. All of it.
It really is. I mean, the only one coming out of it in a good light is Dr. Doom.
Yeah, because he always does.
He's technically even a villain of Fantastic Four anymore. He's just a Marvel villain in general.
That's it. And, one of those. He'll have been on screen 3 times by the time this movie comes out next month. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't think they've done him justice any other time. I think it's Toby Kebbell playing him this time, which is better than Julian McMahon playing him. But I think in the context of the film he's in, he probably isn't a good enough film for the Doom he could be.
Yeah. Let's move on now. Let's talk about some other characters. The Hulk is no longer Bruce Banner.
No.
We don't know who the Hulk is. They said they were not going to reveal who the Hulk is until the comic launches. I'm sure it'll leak before then. But not Bruce Banner. And it's now called the Totally Awesome Hulk. And apparently this Hulk is a happy Hulk. He's not angry.
Happy Hulk! Hulk dance!
Good or bad?
Funny.
Proof will be in the pudding. I think it'll be interesting to see why that is and what it'll do.
Who do you think it is then?
I'm not even sure. I mean,
Hulk pick flowers now.
I mean, going by the way they treat certain characters on their Disney cartoon versions, I would say it's probably Rick Jones, but that would just be terrible. I just don't want that to be the case.
Could it be Tony Stark?
That would be amazing.
Is not Tony Stark anymore either.
No. So
What about Captain America?
Well, I don't think he's one for Jolly Japes, really. So.
Could it be Frank Castle?
Could it be Eminem?
Because they haven't announced the Punisher in this new cinematic universe yet.
No, he's already in, isn't he? Oh no, the cinematic, no.
For him and
he's pretty much just gone to go and do his own thing. Basically killed till the universe ended.
Yeah. Could it? Hulk, go make daisy chain.
He just has an existential crisis and decides, you know what, I've had too long being a moody bastard. I'm going to just go around and be happy. Oh, I started to be hit by some gamma rays. What a fate. Well, I guess I'll take this much better than I took the death of my family.
That's great. Okay, let's move on then. So that's the Hulk. I personally don't like the choice.
It sounds ridiculous, but it could work.
I don't know, like, the happier he gets, the more powerful he gets now? I don't get it.
Hulk, get his jollies off!
So pretty much you need a serial killer to be the Hulk so he never transforms anymore, because those guys are never happy.
I was going to say, well, Hulk is basically a walking erection.
That's fantastic. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the Fantastic Four stuff. Mr. Fantastic is dead.
Yep.
Invisible Woman is dead. Human Torch is dead. The Thing is the only one who's alive, and he is now joining the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Star-Lord is out, and a female version of Star-Lord is in.
Yes.
Good or bad?
I like having Ben Grimm as being there. That's cool. That works for me. But, yeah, I don't know. Beyond that, that's the sort of thing they can take anywhere. Stuff like Guardians. It's just what it is. But the whole Fantastic Four thing, as I said, it makes me sad because they were one of my favourite comics growing up. And even the Ultimate series is quite good, which the new film coming out is more based on, where they're a bunch of younger people. And it's sad that this whole thing with Fox is going on, where they're making crappy looking films that don't make any sense to the established lore, and Marvel are just seemingly spiting it all because of it, because they won't give it back, and it's a horrible disaster for characters that are integral to the damn Marvel universe. It's the reason why in the first Avengers film it's the Chitauri rather than the Skrull, because they couldn't use the Skrull being part of the Fantastic Four world.
They should be able to use Skrulls. They just can't use Super Skrulls for some reason.
No, they couldn't use the name because it was associated with Fantastic
Can't
Four.
they just call them the Skrulls?
Skrull.
I'm sorry, everyone. I think I'm going to be completely distracted for the rest of this podcast because all I can think of is Happy Hulk. That is now embedded in my head and nothing else.
Happy Hulk the Walker.
I could just picture him for some reason in a green field, loads of flowers, prancing about with Black Widow on his back. Hulk, go cheer dance now!
Remember the Tenacious D film where he sees the Sasquatch?
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing the Hulk as.
Yeah, and it's just that tune in the background.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on in my head right now. So I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to be completely useless for the rest of this podcast.
Oh, damn. All right, let's quickly move on then. The Beast from X-Men is now joining the Inhumans and is apparently a Inhuman. He's no longer a mutant. Again, is this them striking at 20th Century Fox and removing mutants from the comic book world? And making
it seems like it. It really does seem like it in this case because it's like explain. It's like really properly explained.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of this they're getting away with because it's their property, so they can just say, "Well, we'll do this." And sometimes they have stupid ideas and they work, like Superior Spider-Man, which stupid idea but works as a story. And So you can hope with things like this, but yeah, it does seem like a very deliberate move.
Yeah, what do you think, Ben?
Oh, I think exactly the same thing. I think it's a move to stop them from using them, because as you know, they can only use mutants. They are not allowed to use Inhumans. If they're not considered a mutant, technically Fox do not own the rights. They only own the rights to Marvel mutants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by making it Inhuman, it's free game.
So let's move on. Here's an interesting one that I found. Miles Morales is now going to be the Spider-Man in Spider-Man issue #1. He's the main Spider-Man. Peter Parker is still there, but he's going to be in his own comic. I believe it's called... What is his Agency of Spider-Man called? I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, I forget the name now. Gone, but
yeah, he pretty much has like an international team now, and Peter Parker is now going to patrol the entirety of North America rather than just New York City. He's received a redesign. Alex Ross released a pretty awesome-looking Spider-Man just for that redesign. He went in and created it. The costume itself looks kind of the same, but the spider logo kind of now glows like this kryptonite green color. I don't know if I've seen it or not, but yeah, what do you think of Miles Morales now being the #1 Spider-Man and Peter Parker kind of taking the back seat?
I'm kind of happy. I love Miles Morales' run in Ultimate. I'm glad he survived the Great Cull as well. It's different enough, and he's the sort of character that sort of spearheaded this move to change, like they obviously did with Miss Marvel as well. And it's I've just seen that image you mentioned. I remember seeing it now. Mm-hmm. He's basically back in Amazing Spider-Man. So.
Yeah, what about you, Ben?
I didn't really get into much of the Marvel Ultimate stuff with him, but from what I did read, because I did read a little bit a while back, he was pretty good as... So yeah, it's pretty good that he's going to be staying as him.
Nice. Obviously there's a lot more. There's way too much to even discuss.
Just mentioning, of course, that Miles Morales is part of the Avengers as well.
Yes. Deadpool is also part of the team now. I don't remember what it's called. He's on a team with Rogue and some other characters. He's also getting a crossover. Well, not a crossover. He's also getting a team up with Deadpool and Spider-Man as well. They just announced that. So they're throwing Deadpool everywhere. So apparently they still have faith in Deadpool, even though 20th Century Fox owns the movie rights.
I think
they're the rights, but it was kind of like a joint venture more than actually, aha, we have it now thing.
Yeah, just some quick rundowns. Galactus is now a good guy, I guess. He's part of a team, I think the Ultimates team is what they're called. I don't know how that's going to work out. X-Men are still there. They just, the Magneto still leads his team. I don't know if they're still the Brotherhood of Mutants anymore, but he does have a team. Sabretooth is completely back to his old self of like 92 Sabretooth, where he's more animalistic than anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of thing going on with the X-Men, which is cool.
X-Men are back, except they are missing people. No Scott Summers. They haven't announced anything of Scott Summers. That's very interesting because he was...
Didn't he kind of
take over for Charles Xavier as the leader, and then he kind of became bad guy. And we still have no idea what happened because Marvel has delayed the ending to that storyline until October. And that storyline should have ended back in April. Which a lot of people are really confused about that.
Also note that Spider-Gwen is now actually a full thing.
Yes, well. Spider-Gwen is part of his team of spider people.
Yeah, which is cool. I'm quite happy about that.
We just call it Spider-Man Incorporated.
Yeah. Spider-Man Incorporated. I love it.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more to talk about, like who is Iron Man? Is it Tony Stark? Is it not? Why does he look like Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid?
And why didn't they do that sooner?
Seriously, huh? But yeah, this all starts in October, so enjoy the Secret Wars while you can. I don't know if it's even going to last is Secret Wars going to last all the way to October?
I think it's going to run pretty close.
Wow.
Also, from what I don't know if I read this right, but Scott Summers had a bit of a fight with Doctor Doom, I think, or...
Yeah, he killed him.
Yeah, because he was using the Phoenix Force.
Yeah. Again, yeah, you got that whole thing of more than one out there in the universe. So yeah.
My biggest problem right now with Marvel is their use of villains. I just don't understand, of all the villains they have, why has Doctor Doom been like the main villain in the past like 3 or 4 major storylines we've done in Marvel?
Because it's him as a character. He's interested in being revered by all. I'm
not saying he's a bad villain. He's a great villain. I love Doctor Doom, but you have other villains you can use. Of the last,
I think he's just the only one. Yeah, sorry.
I'm just like, of the last 3 major Marvel events you've done, he's been the villain in all of them. I
think, let's say, I think it's because he's one of the more human villains and his motives. It's not just I want to destroy the world. It's like he's just got an ego of wanting to one up a guy. That's it. That's pretty much his own thing. That's all he ever wants to do, and that's in each of those stories. That's his main factor. He just wants to be better than Reed Richards, and it spills out. Even here, where he's trying to do good, it's because he wants to be better than Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's quickly move to Marvel then. Are you guys okay with that, or not? Not Marvel, DC.
DC. I was gonna say, who just done that?
Let's quickly go over the TV shows really fast. Arrow Season 4 has started filming. He has a new costume. He looks more like Green Arrow from the comics now. The first episode of Season 4 is going to be titled Green Arrow, and he's finally going to go under the name Green Arrow in the show.
That's good.
Instead of just Arrow, which is great. They've announced some more characters that are going to be appearing. Mr. Terrific is going to appear in Arrow.
Oh,
and Anarchy is going to appear as a villain as well. That's Arrow for now. They also teased, and they're very hopeful that they can get Matt Ryan's Constantine on Arrow as well.
I hope so. It would be a shame to waste.
Yeah, because he was a great show, great character. It's such a shame that it was canceled.
Yeah, well, it's just so most nailed on version of the character I think of so far.
Yes.
DC stuff is a shame if they don't go anywhere with that.
Yeah. The Flash is also getting a lot of stuff happening in Season 2. We're getting Jay Garrick from Earth 2. We're getting Zoom as well. We're getting Atom Smasher, who's being played by Edge from WWE.
Yeah, I saw that.
He just got cast. Hawkman is apparently going to appear as well, but he's also going to be moving over to Legends of Tomorrow, which is the next CW DC show that they're doing.
Ralph is taking the Atom out into title role.
Yes, which is great. White Canary, Hot Girl is part of that team, Captain Cold. They've said there's going to be crossover between all the shows, at least 3 to 4 episodes each season from now on, which is great in my opinion. There's still rumors that they may be able to use Batman in one way, shape, or form in the TV shows. They're really fighting to do it, but I highly doubt it. Knowing how DC is with those characters.
The thing now stopping them from doing, having a very successful little universe going is that whole TV movie thing, just being so separate.
Yes.
It's going to kill them in the long run because someone.
It's definitely going to hurt them.
Yeah.
Definitely going to hurt them. They also said that they are going to change the name of the city to Star City in Arrow as well, which is what it was originally.
Yeah.
They changed to Starling City for whatever reason. But those are the TV shows, those two at least. Look forward to those. There's Gotham as well, which is going to use the Joker as a pivotal enemy in Season 2. For those who saw the episode where supposedly the person they showed was the Joker. I thought he did a great job proving to me that he's the Joker. The actor also teased the second image during Comic-Con. It's a black and white image where he's got the grin of the Joker and everything, and he looks, again, like a perfect fit for the character of the Joker.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that picture, but
I saw it.
We'll see where they go with that. They're also going to introduce Mr. Freeze and a couple other villains as well.
Still, the thing about that show that bugs me is just all too soon for what's happening in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I agree. Personally, the only villains or characters that should have appeared, in my opinion, are Mr. Freeze and Man-Bat. Because they're like the only oldest villains that could possibly exist.
Yeah.
Sorry about bringing Arkham up again, but my mate saw Man-Bat in Arkham Knight.
Yeah. That was actually a really good scare moment.
Yes, it was. And then later, the Joker does it too.
Yeah.
Which was great. DC also announced the animated movie of The Killing Joke.
Yes.
Which is awesome. We'll see if Mark Hamill keeps to his word and does the voice.
I hope so, because that would be one of the best animations.
Yes, I hope they do good. I hope they stay true to the comic. I know they haven't stayed true to a lot of them. But hopefully they'll stay true to this one. We saw a second trailer to Batman vs. Superman. I thought it was an amazing trailer. It showed a lot of action, a lot of more story details of what's really going on. Lex Luthor, I think, has been pretty much confirmed by this trailer to be the main villain. We know Kryptonite is in the movie. It plays a role. What did you guys think of this trailer, compared to the first one, at least?
So much better. So much better than the first one. But everyone knew that the first one was just to hype up making Superman look like the bad guy. Oh no! It did all those killings to save everyone else. How dare he? Bad Supermans. But there was no way that army that they showed off in the first trailer was Superman's, So I thought it was great. Though I did like some of the really bad CGI effects. They were hilarious, like the Batman escaping the laser that looked really bad. And Gal Gadot looked pretty good as Wonder Woman in some shots, but she did still look pretty skinny in some other shots. She didn't look very well built.
Doesn't look physically intimidating.
No, not at all.
Since the beginning, that's been my question mark on it.
But she does seem to look like she wants to play the part really well. So I'm going to give her that. She might not be perfect, but look at Joker in that Suicide Squad. He doesn't look like the normal Joker. Doesn't mean he's going to be bad. This is a different interpretation. It's the same person, just looks a bit different. Though I'm worried that the same worry as Angry Joe has, that she's going to end up as a love interest for Batman.
Yeah. Does sort of allude to that.
Yeah, which would be a bit weird. Yeah, oh no, I've lost Alfred, I've lost Robin, I've lost everything. Oh, Wonder Woman, hello. Want to tie me up in that little truth whip? I'll tell you all my secrets.
Oh man.
I think I ended it there.
Yeah, you did. And I'll say that, it at least explained a bit more about what's going on plot-wise, and get nice little Joker hint in there as well.
Great little Joker hint, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's not until I watched it for the second time you realise that it's not a Batman costume that's spray painted. It's a Robin costume.
We'll definitely talk about that in just a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. It's
actually, one thing I want to say, I didn't like the whole red capes are coming, because there's only one red cape. Makes no sense.
I think that alludes to that.
Yeah, the British coming.
Yeah, because he's somehow got his own army of followers, soldiers. So I think that's what they're probably called. It's the red cape. But I think the way it looks is that Luthor is manipulating everybody to sort of fight each other, basically, and that's why it's happened.
Definitely. Interesting that he has the hair in the trailer.
Yeah, the awful hair. But I like it. I like he sounds suitably weird and creepy. I think that's what they were going for. That he's some snotty little kid who's really clever but a bit weird. I think he's gonna be quite a good Luthor.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, missing from the trailer was Aquaman. They said he is going to be in this movie. They don't know for how long, but who knows?
It does look like that whole versus bit is going to be very early on, and then they're going to have a whole second half where they probably team up and take on the bad guys.
Yeah. Interestingly of note, this is something I actually missed last week during Comic-Con. Zack Snyder actually, in an interview, said that Superman will, in the future, in the cinematic universe, the DC cinematic universe, will encounter Brainiac. Which is a nice little hint of maybe he's going to be the villain of Justice League, or maybe Brainiac is manipulating Lex Luthor in the movie as well.
Could be where the kryptonite comes from.
Yeah, and it kind of leads into the Justice League, because we know in the comics, at least in the New 52, Brainiac has been manipulating Lex Luthor into giving him information about the heroes of Earth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, before he showed up. So that's very interesting. So he has pretty much confirming that Brainiac is going to be in this cinematic universe at some point. Let's head into Suicide Squad now. I think this trailer was actually bigger than Batman vs. Superman. Because I think everybody was really looking forward to seeing not only just the Joker in the trailer, but Harley Quinn as well, and how well Margot Robbie is going to portray the character.
Two biggest cheers of Comic-Con as well in that trailer when both of those characters were revealed.
Yeah. This trailer was very reminiscent of the Batman Superman trailer, at least the first one, where not too much action, but kind of building up to something, you know? What did you guys think?
Mic there again, Gary?
What was that?
Or was it left you in a stunned silence?
Can you not hear me?
Oh, I couldn't for a second.
Sorry. No, I was just saying that this trailer was kind of very reminiscent of the Batman Superman trailer, the first one, where if they didn't really tell you too much, they just kind of laid the groundwork out for you. You know, this group of villains is recruited to save the world, or they'll get blown up.
Yeah, basically.
I actually quite enjoyed this movie for a little bit. Obviously, or the trailer. I think Margot Robbie looked really good as Harley Quinn. She didn't talk much, so I can't tell by her voice.
Apart from that one that she did, she sounded very, very much like that sort of Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and obviously the Joker stuff was very interesting. Killer Croc, I think, is an interesting choice. I don't think they could have used King Shark, who's kind of more prominent in the comics, as a member of the studio, because he's a talking, walking shark. It would have just been too weird. So I think Killer Croc was a good choice to kind of change.
They've made it very subtle as well. It's not like, as you were saying.
We saw some Deadshot, Will Smith, Diablo, Enchantress, Katana was in the trailer. Obviously, the Joker is the big talking point. We heard his laugh, which is very deep, very dark, which is kind of interesting. And then we actually saw him with some lines of dialogue. Got a huge cheer in the audience during the leak trailer. But yeah, what do you guys think of the trailer?
I'm going to focus just on the Joker bit mainly because from the beginning, Jared Leto is the Joker. I was like, that's a good call. And you can do it. He's a very good actor. I honestly thought this would be the right choice, and despite all the nonsense that went on about it, about the tattoos and stuff, yeah, it's greatly delivered. 2 lines of dialogue. I'm sold on him being the Joker. Simple as that. How the rest of the movie turns out, it's still that whole DC, everything's got really miserable and like that. It's slightly off-putting when Marvel's universe is a bit cheerier in general. It just seems to be no sort of tongue-in-cheek humour or anything about it, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for, that at least can bring that of Ledger's Joker, who does come across a bit more animated than, say, Ledger did. He has the wide eyes and the old crazy smile. I think it'll be quite the hit once it comes out. Film, not so sure about.
What about you, Ben?
I loved it. It was amazing. So yeah, I did love it. The Joker was pretty good, I must admit, like that, and I liked Harley Quinn. She actually looked really good. I thought it fit the character.
She's a natural fit for that character.
Perfect fit.
Perfect fit.
It was like she was born for it, to be honest.
Yeah, easily. Now there was a nice little fan theory that came out, obviously of the Joker, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the gist of it is some people, well, this guy's fan theory, and some people are really rallying behind it, is that the Joker in the Suicide Squad isn't actually Joker, but it's Jason Todd, who's been pretty much mind jacked up, kind of like he was in Arkham Knight, and now he thinks he's the Joker.
Oh.
What do you think? There's obviously some hints of it on his tattoos.
He has the J under his eye, which is very similar to the placing of the brand. That's the J.
Yeah.
Yes, the comics and
it looks like a Robin tattoo on his bicep as well.
And the fact that he's a very different Joker. I think that's the thing people have got behind on it, is that he's not, all these tattoos and the very obvious nature of it. I think someone pointed out, as you said, the tattoo was there. That shows the Robin. And it's a feasible theory. But, on the other hand, he appears to be torturing someone in that trailer, and that seems like too much of a coincidence that it's, him torturing Jason Todd. As we said, most of it seems to be flashbacks where Joker's concerned in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So it's quite likely that he may not play much of a role, maybe in just sort of explaining how Harley Quinn came to be like Harley Quinn. So he may not even appear in the main stuff at all. And that's it. He could just be a flashback, but it's just hinting towards him being in the Batman movie.
Yeah, and obviously the spray painted graffiti on the Robin suit as well. It looks like Tim Drake's costume, personally, because it looks like he's holding the staff, which is Tim Drake's weapon of choice. But it could also hint that, hey, the Joker has already killed Jason Todd. And, he put this joke on him, but really Jason Todd is in this movie alive. We know Batman is in Suicide Squad. He was in the trailer. Yeah.
But it also goes back to those other 2 points, isn't it? That, in the trailer you see that someone's sending him notes, Batman notes, about personal things that only family would know. And again, it suggests that could be Todd sending it. And so, it's a good theory.
Yeah, there are some things about the Joker that are very interesting. I don't know if you guys have read Batman Endgame.
A little bit, yeah.
I kind of want to spoil it, but I'm not going to unless you guys want me to.
I assume you mean what he does, Joker does in that Endgame.
Yes.
Yeah. I know, but I don't know about Ben, if he doesn't want to know.
I don't know, but I don't mind knowing.
There you go. Okay, so there you go.
Okay, so in Batman Endgame, pretty much both Bruce Wayne, Batman, and the Joker die at the end. At least that's what we're supposed to believe. Like, they battle into a cave, the Joker seals the cave completely, and they pretty much beat each other to death inside this cave. The reason I bring this up is the way it was written by Scott Snyder, which was fantastic, by the way, is he really makes you believe that the Joker is actually a supernatural character, and that he's existed for a very long time. This is also evident in a lot of photographs. Throughout the story, Commissioner Gordon's looking at old photographs of when Barbara was a little girl and when his son Jim was a little boy. And in these images, he starts looking very closely, and in almost every image, he sees the Joker in like the glass window of a building or standing behind in the shadow somewhere. And it's super creepy. There's a lot of references to stuff he said in The Killing Joke to Commissioner Gordon as well. Things like when he was hiding under his bed when he was sleeping, he was listening to him sleep. Great stuff there. There's the one scene in The Killing Joke where he's actually crawling underneath Commissioner Gordon's bed, and it's super creepy.
Yeah.
But it's very psychological attack on both Commissioner Gordon and Batman in Endgame. There are even parts where, like, he's even shot to death, repeated, right? He's shot in the head and everything, and somehow he just comes back to life. So there's a lot of thought now that the Joker is actually a supernatural character, and that's why there's no identity for him. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows anything about him. His DNA is nowhere. Obviously, some stuff gets revealed that kind of disproves a lot of the theories there, but it's very well done in the way, like, if you're looking at the movies, you know, with this younger looking Joker, right? Jared Leto looks like a very young Joker.
Yeah, he's very close in age to Ben Affleck.
Yeah, and Batman is supposed to be this old, you know, retired version of Batman, like from the Dark Knight Returns Batman.
Yeah.
You know, so in a way it's kind of fitting that it could be that he is a supernatural character and he just comes back all the time looking exactly the same. You know, or again, it could be Jason Todd, that he just, when he knows his time is up, he just mind screws somebody to think that they're the Joker and they turn into him, keeping the character alive.
It's a great little thing to be already thinking about, and that's what's going to carry the popularity of the movies now, is the fact that there's all this intrigue about it. To be fair, you don't get that so much in the with Marvel stuff. There's less of the intrigue because you know who's playing what to a degree and what's going to happen to some degree as well, because though they change certain aspects of the stories they're copying, you still get the basic run-through.
Yeah. It really just shows you the type of character that Joker is. He is one of the greatest comic book characters ever made.
Yeah, and I said the new 52 Joker in that Endgame run is, a really cool version.
Yeah, he is what they're making Jared Leto's Joker out to be, a psychopath. You know, the Joker in Endgame is a complete nutcase, more so than he's ever been.
Yeah, the whole thing with the face as well is just...
Yeah, and good. He does now know that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he just doesn't care.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Yeah, like in Endgame, he says, you know, we've been having fun throughout this whole time, but now it's time to get serious. Like, so, killing Jason Todd, paralyzing Barbara Gordon, that was just fun for him. And I can't imagine what he means when it's, let's get serious. And obviously you find out in Endgame what that means to him.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So, yeah. It should be interesting to see what they do with Series F. Of course, we don't know the timeline. We don't know if it takes place after Batman Superman, before. What's a flashback? What isn't? This timeline is kind of iffy right now. Yeah. So,
I mean, there's obviously that in Suicide Squad, there is Batman will be in it for that flashback scene, because he's riding on the roof of Joker's car as it leaks.
It would have to be, because if it's not a flashback, then we know Batman survived in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, yeah, in that story he does technically survive, so it goes underground, doesn't it?
Okay, let's quickly move on then to some stuff they announced. They announced Batman is doing a crossover with the Ninja Turtles, or the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in the UK.
I think we've dropped that now.
Yeah, that was in the 90s.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, even the kids' programs have it as Ninja now.
I remember that. That was amazing, especially when they got rid of his... who was it? Nunchucks.
Michelangelo.
Yeah, they got rid of his nunchucks and CGI'd a grappling hook on instead.
Don't worry about the sword or the side.
Yeah.
It's
that grappling hook. There's that nunchuck that's the most dangerous. Those swords, you can't get those anywhere, but those nunchucks are the most dangerous. It wasn't just kids shows. That was every show. Even 18+ stuff had to be censored.
Yeah, I love the fact that it was even. Donatello has a stick, which is the most easily accessible weapon around for kids. And it's like, well, that doesn't matter. Kids can't smack each other around the head with that. It's much more dangerous to do 2 bits of wood.
Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Well, this is just one of two crossovers that DC is doing. The other crossover is Green Lantern and Star Trek, which was more interesting. Yeah, they're teaming up with different publishers to do crossovers. I think that's great. And I would definitely like to see Marvel do the same thing, But yeah, those things were announced. Let's see, what else was on DC's platter there? Oh, the one big news came out of it was the more information about the Green Lantern movie. It's not just Green Lantern, it's the Green Lantern Corps. And I think what this pretty much indicates is that they are not going with just one Green Lantern hero in this movie. I think they're going to go with all of them. We all thought that it was going to be Hal Jordan. Chris Pine has been rumored to play the role for quite a while now.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised they didn't announce that he's finally confirmed for the role here yet. But I think it's pretty confident to say that we'll see Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, probably Kyle Rayner, and Guy Gardner as well.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Like, where is this movie going to go now that it's not just about him, but the entire Corps? Like, who do they face? Are they going to go straight into Sinestro, or is Sinestro going to be Green Lantern in this movie?
This is it. It's again, what do they go with? Do they sort of make a mishmash of stabber stories like they're doing with the rest, or do they copy something in particular? I would say more likely they're going to take several angles and sort of meld them together again, like that, and create their own sort of half-new story. Yeah, as I said, it gets maybe even cynical side of me says it's like focus testing. If they have every Green Lantern there, they can kill off all the ones they don't want and just keep the one they want.
Which one's your favourite Green Lantern? Is it Hal Jordan? Is it this one? Or is it this one? Which one is your favourite?
If they're asking that question, they should already know it's Jon Stewart.
Yeah, that's it.
My favorite is Guy Gardner personally, but they're not going to make a movie with Guy Gardner as the lead. I actually think they're going to go with the most obvious choice. At least to me, it's the most obvious choice. You keep Sinestro as a Green Lantern, and the villains should be the Manhunters. That way you can go in and you can plant the seeds for Sinestro's turn into a villain, because it is the Manhunters who destroyed his planet and forced him to become this evil dude. Pretty much. I think the Manhunters are the easiest choice to go with. I would like to see the Rage Lanterns and Atrocitus, because Atrocitus is one of the coolest new characters DC's made. But I highly doubt they're going to go against another Lantern Corps in this movie.
Just noticed someone saying that Hulk's actually Amadeus Cho.
What was that?
Hulk, the new Hulk's probably Amadeus Cho.
Huh.
Yeah, so to me he looks a bit like Thor.
Hulk now got happy god.
Pouncing around. He's going to join My Little Pony, dude. Just like
My little Hulky.
It's the faux Hawk thing he's got going on that does me. Sorry to take it off topic, I just noticed it.
No, you're fine. I think the last big news from DC was the standalone Batman movie that hasn't been confirmed, but it kind of has. So Ben Affleck will be co-writing and directing the standalone Batman movie.
Yep.
He's co-writing it with Jeff Jones, who is writing a lot of comic books for DC right now. He's currently doing Darkseid's War. He did Forever Evil and a lot of the Green Lantern. In my opinion, he brought Green Lantern back from mediocrity to greatness in his run with Green Lantern. What do you think of this? Is this good? I personally think Ben Affleck is a fantastic director and a great writer.
Yeah, he really is. And that's the thing that people should be excited about. Because I think he could really write a good Batman film. With the style he has. And as you said, yeah, with the writer on board, he's done some good stuff. Even the Justice League stuff he was involved in writing as well, I really liked. I'm reading some of it now, actually. It's I quite liked his run on that. So yeah, it's a good mix. I think could actually be a very good Batman, maybe. Especially if it is Joker focused, like it seems like it will be.
Yeah, hopefully. What about you, Ben? What do you think?
I haven't really looked into it, so I can't really say anything. Sorry. Sorry, man.
That's okay. But yeah, there's still no news on the Wonder Woman movie or any of the other movies, quite frankly, which is sad. I would think they'd announce more of something with Shazam since they already announced The Rock as playing Black Adam, but something tells me that movie is going to get pushed back in favor for the other ones. But yeah, well, I think we've covered a lot of stuff. What do you think? Anything else you guys want to cover really quick before we wrap up? Neil? Hello?
Hello.
Hello, Neil. Did you black out?
Apparently I blacked out.
Yeah.
Did we all black out?
Yeah, Skype is poop. I hate
It doesn't
Skype.
like
Damn you, Skype.
trying to tell us something. I think.
Yeah.
Going on.
Anything else you guys want to discuss before we wrap up?
Not really. Oh, the other cool Marvel team up that's coming out of the new run will be that Daredevil and Gambit are teaming up. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Is Gambit still a mutant? Or is he an Inhuman?
The way he looks, I don't remember what happened with Gambit. It's like he's got a very different look. It's very cat-like in his current pose. So yeah, he probably is an Inhuman. And Howard the Duck coming back again as well.
Yes, doing a standalone Howard the Duck comic.
Greatness. Yeah, all sorts of wonderful things.
Yeah. Are we going to see a crossover with Star Wars and Marvel? At some
point.
So do I. I think Marvel will be like, or Disney will be like, hey, let's make even more money and just throw Star Wars into everything. Then there you go.
Do you reckon, though, when the Star Wars film comes out, there will be some background item that alludes to something in the Marvel universe?
If anything, it should be at the end of Secret Wars.
Yeah.
They should like randomly show the Death Star hanging out in the background of something.
I kind of think there'll be a reference to Guardians of the Galaxy in the new Star Wars.
Yeah, I would say that.
Great way to bring them over, Guardians.
Maybe at like a tree, like Groot. Yeah, maybe a version of Groot on the ship. Yeah, the background somewhere.
Like an alien race thing, yeah.
Well, no, just like actually have Groot. Yeah, he's growing when he's a baby still. Just like that in the background somewhere.
Because they had like the ETs in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
If do that and have dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Well, yeah, might as well just have everything appear in Star Wars. Yeah. It's a big universe. Why not?
That's it. Marty McFly turns up in the background. he has to get Han Solo to kiss Leia, otherwise he'll never move on.
You guys are crazy. Alright, I think it's time we should wrap up.
Luke, you're my only hope. I need 1.2 gigawatts of...
Marty McFly gets up on stage and does the song from the bar in Tatooine.
Yeah, there you go, see? We've got the new... This is the...
Chewbacca's going to join the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think I've finally got... I've got the plot of the new Star Wars movie. The rebels are being helped by the X-Men, who have to stop Deadpool from eating all the chimichangas in the universe, which is then they find out chimichangas are actually an infinity gem that Thanos is after, and that is where it ties into the Avengers.
Let's just say that if Magneto appears in Star Wars, he wins everything because he just destroys everything.
Yeah,
that Star Wars crushed it with a single finger, so it doesn't matter.
It would just be 90 minutes of him sitting in an armchair reading the Radio Times whilst moving things around in space.
I'd watch that.
Just the classical music the whole time as well. Yeah.
Now I want to go make a fan movie.
And it has to be Ian McKellen doing it as well. Just make it
Magneto kills the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And he's got to sit there. He's got to have a glass of mulled wine at the same time as well. Fireplace and everything. Be perfect.
And he keeps getting annoyed anytime anyone thinks he's a Jedi because he can move things.
It's awesome. All right, I think it's time we should wrap up.
Aww. And then Happy Hulk appears for no reason.
Never gonna get over it. Happy Hulk, man. It's interesting. We'll see.
I am going to use that as a euphemism for erections from now on.
Hey, wifey.
Well, hey, I've got a happy Hulk on.
Neil, how can people reach you?
You can reach me on Twitter at Nezco, that's Nezko, all lowercase. You can find me on email at neil.bolt@psu.com, or you can find me on PSN, why not? Son of Venom, all lowercase, for one word.
Yeah, you better put some Bane up in that name.
It's a Bane Venom allegory, if you will.
That's very nice. Ben, how can people reach you?
You can reach me at ben.shillabeer-hall@psu.com, Chili _ on Twitter, Chili _ UK on Twitter, sorry, Chili on the AirGap, Chili on PSN, Chili on pretty much every type of service in Bow. It's CHILL. CHI. I'm ill. CHILLE. Also, can I make a quick shout out quickly? I know it's not Unchained.
Of course.
But I want to say a shout out to Wanna Burn. Thank you for all your awesome messages recently. I don't know if you're going to listen to this entire podcast. Don't think anyone has listened to it. I don't know. Yeah, it's quite a long one. But if you did listen to this entire podcast, thank you, and thank you for telling me that PlayStation Unchained is your favourite PlayStation podcast. You're amazing.
Especially considering I've hosted recently.
Happy Hulk approves.
Happy Hulk approves.
It's giving me a happy Hulk.
Wow. Well, you can reach me at Gaglaush at GAGLAUSH on Twitter, or Garri at PSU.com, that's GARRI, or Gaglaush at anything you can think of. If I'm on it, that'll be my name. This was fun.
Yeah. Again, we made it last a long time.
Yes, we did. We might have to spice it up again.
Yeah. We could do the first hour as a spoiler card.
Kevin,
Do you want me to stop it?
Yeah, the last minute.
One of our guys at PSU, Kevin, awesome guy. He has to edit this, and I kind of feel bad for him now.
Well, he has to edit 2 podcasts.
Yeah, we just spoiled the entire comic book world for him.
Anyway, so enjoy this, Kevin. We'll leave this in for you to edit out if you want to. Thank you. Thank you for your awesome work, Kevin. You are amazing.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Thank
come
you.
on the podcast.
Yeah, get on the podcast. We'll get you on next week.
Yeah, if you guys want more of these type of special podcasts, please let us know. In the comments or email, or send us Twitter stuff, whatever you want.
Clearly, we can talk about it for hours. So.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. If you disagree with us, it's even better, because then we can argue with you.
Yeah, and I will. I'll argue with you.
Yeah, and tell us who's better, Marvel or DC.
Yes, or some niche comic that you only know about.
Yeah, you never know. IDW is great. You never know. But yes, alrighty. Well, I think that's it. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I hope you guys listened to the end. I know it was quite long. But, yeah. Thank you, and goodbye.
Excelsior.
Thank God for me.
Believe in Garrett.